Welcome, everyone. You're very lucky because you have found the world's very best video game podcast. That's right. You have found GameFace on SIFTD Games at SIFTD.net with a combined 50-plus years of experience covering the video game industry. And the other half of that is Matt. Keil, what's up, Matt?
How come these things don't happen in the afternoon?
What
these
things?
Shadow drops.
Oh, why? What shadow drops? Oh, you mean the...
Oblivion.
Oh.
It still counts as a shadow drop even if we knew about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I actually started to second guess it for a while there because I was like, wait, maybe it's not happening.
No, if Grubb said it was happening, it's happening.
Yeah, he's a pretty reliable source. I mean, the thing was, there was other people that were conflicting Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, but who the fuck are they?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, when he says something, I usually take it to the bank.
Yeah, pretty close.
And he was right about this. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was shown off and launched today at the same time. We're going to talk about that on the show today. And in fact, we have a loaded show today. There's no big games, but I ended up playing a bunch of smaller things. Which made
I
it
was
for...
going to play Lost Records, but they broke controller inversion settings.
Oh, really?
With the Tape 2 update. Like, everything's just grayed out. And then I was like,
weird.
What? And I was like, do I have to be further in the game to do it? What's going? Eventually, I looked it up, and like they're like, yeah, we know that broke in the update. We've already fixed it. It'll be in the next patch. The next patch went up this morning. So yeah, I did not get to play Lost Records this week.
That'll be next week, and then I think Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yeah, Expedition 33.
Does that come out like tomorrow? Yeah, and that'll be next week's show. That's one to keep an eye on.
Tomorrow, Thursday, 25th.
Tomorrow's the 23rd, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Thursday night that comes out. I don't remember.
Yeah, tomorrow's the 23rd.
I think it comes out like Thursday night, Friday morning.
Okay. So we'll definitely be tackling that in next week's show. But here's the thing, like I played several smaller-ish games for this week's episode. So there's a ton of games, and they really run the gamut. If you look at the rundown, I was playing a hodgepodge of nothingness this week, trying to get stuff ready for GameFace. But also, we have the new Star Wars game that was announced this week we're going to talk about. We just mentioned the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. We have an awesome show for you guys today. Do anything fun this week, Matt?
There was some Andor catch-up, or review, rather, because that goes up today.
Does it start today?
The first 3 episodes are tonight, yeah.
Oh, boy. I'm excited for that.
Every Tuesday, they're going to drop full story arc at a time.
Oh, really?
So 3 episodes every Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Every week?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So 5 weeks.
Okay.
Is it 5 weeks? No, 4 weeks. 4 weeks, there's 12 episodes.
Oh, there's 12?
Never more than 12.
Not anymore.
Each one's a year building up to Rogue One.
Okay.
Originally, the plan was for each of those years to be a full season.
Oh.
And then they were like shooting the first season. They're like, this is kind of killing us. And Diego Luna's going to be like 70 by the time we finish this. So let's just like wrap it up. So each story arc is going to be, it starts like 4 years before Rogue One and A New Hope, and it's going to jump a year every week.
For the first time in a really, really long time, there is so much good TV to watch right now. Mm-hmm. I can't even keep up with it all because we didn't have. I have kind of given up. I'll be fair. I don't pursue a lot of new stuff anymore unless something kind of bubbles up among my friends or whatever, and they're like, "You got to watch this."
Well, I have a tendency to just wait until things are done because, like, who can trust this shit anymore? I mean, I got burned on Game of Thrones, and I'm really never gonna.
You're never gonna get over it.
Like I feel like I trust Invincible because they're doing that pretty straight.
I just watched the whole season of that on Saturday, and it started out a little slow, and then I was surprised by something that happened at the end. But overall, again, a really, really good season.
And they get, I'm sure Last of Us will be fine. Mm-hmm. I haven't actually watched the new episode yet. I'm very well aware of what happens because A, I played the game, and B, less than an hour after it went up, E! Online sent out a push notification that popped up and just said
what
happened?
End
of the episode right up there on my phone. And I don't care because A, I already know what happens, and B, I don't care about spoilers. But I was with like 2 people who, like a person who had never played the games, and I had to like hide. I'm like, I told him like, don't look at your phone. Don't look. Let me see your phone before you look at it. And like, I'm just like, no, get rid of it.
I do wonder what the normies thought of that episode.
It wasn't even as like it was less time since the episode went live than it would have taken to watch the episode. Clearly they had seen it already because they saw it ahead of time for the review. But it's like, I understand you got to get the clicks, you got to get it. It's like, but
come on.
Fuck you.
That's too much. Yeah.
Even as someone who doesn't care about spoilers and come on, what are you doing?
I hear you.
In the push notification, Like, at least just say, like, it was like, it literally said
something crazy happened.
It said E! Online, so-and-so's character,
does the thing
in momentous Last of Us episode. And I'm like, what
That's
are you doing?
awful.
Like, when you offend me with the spoiler shit,
that's
like,
when
you have gone too far.
I do wonder what people who are watching that show, who don't care about video games, know nothing about the video games, how that episode hit them.
A couple of them lost their damn minds.
Did they?
A person I was with who didn't know about it watched it like the next day and was like, he kind of thought that was coming.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't think it was coming that fast.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised at that too, honestly.
I mean, last week I did say it's
Well,
coming
I
this
mentioned
episode.
last week that like the last shot where they see the town, I was like, that's kind of weird. And
I mean, they did change a number of things with that, so that was foreshadowing of sort of what was going to happen there. Because I had actually completely forgotten that they had introduced the underground network thing with the sport, with the fungus before.
Yeah.
Which I did. I mean, I like that change. I kind of like that change. I like the thing where they have to like tendril kiss you to that's really creepy.
That's really creepy.
Like, it's a more effective thing in that show. I don't think I would prefer it in the game because it's not. I mean, in a show you can zoom in on it and like make it really like you feel like that you can't get away from this thing. In the game, you're like, are the things
You're
out?
just gonna sit there?
I don't know. Fuck you. Boom. Like, I don't know. Did he have his tendril kisses? I don't know. Like, he's got no head now. Like, okay.
I hear you.
In a game where you're killing 40 of these things an hour, it's different than it's like the one thing is very dangerous in the room, sort of thing.
Yep. So yeah, like
but I did hear there's spores going to be in this season though.
That what?
There will be spores.
Oh, really?
In the season. Like, they are going to involve that. Somehow.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe some special kind of
Yeah.
infected or something.
Well, like we said last week, we're going to wait till the season's over to really dive into the second season of The Last of Us. We talked about the first episode that kicked off the season. We're probably going to do these very short 2-minute discussions about each episode, and then we'll do maybe a spoiled at the end of the season and talk about everything in its totality. So, it would be interesting to watch this alongside somebody who doesn't know what's happening.
I've been watching. We've been showing Star Wars, the Star Wars original Star Wars trilogy, to someone who's she's in her 30s, but she's never seen Star Wars.
Wow.
She grew up in a different country.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to watch Empire Strikes Back with an adult who did not know Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father.
Right.
And at the end, we're like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Is he lying?" And I'm like, "It's fun," because like that's exactly what we all thought when we were kids. Like,
fake, right?
I remember sitting around in the playground being like, "Well, is he lying to him? Like, what? How could that be possible?"
Be, yeah.
I thought he was a robot.
Right.
And I was like, it's like it was very funny to see that same thing bubble up. And she's like, "I have no idea where this is going."
Wow.
I'm like, well, lower the expectations because the third one is not as good as this one.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But
I mean,
it's a fascinating journey to take with someone who hasn't been on it and has. I mean, it's such an unusual thing because it's like someone who has never even heard the "I am your father" thing before.
Yeah,
and it's like
because she's from another country.
Yeah. Like an Eastern European country that just didn't have Star Wars.
Yeah,
and it's like normally you'd have to conduct like horribly inhumane experiments to isolate a child from Star Wars spoilers for 30 years, but here we have sort of this natural case. It's incredible.
Yeah,
and I admit it is a little like it does feel a little diabolical. Scientists once in a while like, "What you gonna do now?"
Right. It's like a focus group. It's hilarious. I mean, there's so much good stuff to watch right now that I had like a weekend where I wasn't playing like a 50-hour game, and I still didn't even start the new season of Black Mirror. That shows you how much good stuff there is out there right now.
I haven't seen Black Mirror in many years.
Oh, really? I mean, here's the thing. It takes way too long for a new season.
Well, now, so I watch individual episodes when people, like after people have seen them and say these are the good ones, I will go back. Like I watched the Star Trek one, and apparently this new Star Trek
There's a sequel,
it's very good.
I haven't watched any of it
I'll go
yet.
watch that or whatever.
I mean, there's such short commitments. It's like I just watch them all. Yeah, you're right, though. Some of them suck.
It depends. I mean, I like Black Mirror. I feel like it's a little... It feels a little redundant now.
Well, now it's just reality.
Yeah.
When it started, it was sci-fi. Now it's just reality.
Yeah, well, I saw some weirdo who was just going, I was like, how come there's no white mirror about how tech like actually improves everyone's lives? Like, what? Because you want it to be fantasy now? All right.
That's funny. Let's check in with you guys and see what y'all are up to, see how your week is going. I hope you guys are all having great weeks. Jay Reed Vic, thank you for Twitch Prime.
Yeah, I haven't finished Daredevil, but it's pretty good so far.
I liked the first season of the first Daredevil on Netflix.
I liked the first season okay. I liked the first half of this. I liked the first half of the second season because the Punisher stuff was interesting, but then it turned into like Wish.com Electra and the Magic Ninja hole like for the rest of the season, and I never went back.
Me either. I never went back.
I didn't like the Netflix. I didn't like the Netflix Marvel stuff very much outside of that early Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
Me too.
And everything else, I was like, I mean, I tried to. Luke Cage was pretty good. The first half of Luke Cage season 1 with Mahershala in it. I'm biased towards Mahershala because I was in a play with him in college, and I was like, I know that guy. But then he had to go off and do, I think, Moonlight, and so they got rid of it. I mean, he gets replaced as the villain halfway through, and the new villain is not remotely as interesting.
Yeah, the Netflix Marvel stuff was not great.
Didn't really work out for me. But I do think the Netflix Punisher is the most interesting that character has ever been, so I'm glad they brought him back for the new stuff, and he's very good in the new season. D'Onofrio is really good. D'Onofrio was always really good. But he gets some chances to do some cool stuff in this one, and be a little more like the comic Kingpin. Because if you know the comic Kingpin at all,
he's the perfect casting.
He is more hands-on than the Netflix one was, and he gets to be a little more hands-on in this season. So I'm into it. The middle of it is kind of a legal thriller that has nothing to do with Daredevil, which you can see why they fired those people. It's like this isn't terrible, but if it didn't have the bookends of actual superheroing at the beginning and end, you'd be like, what is this? Yeah. But it's pretty good. Charlie Cox is too old to be Daredevil, I think, but he does play a very good Matt Murdock. He's a good you probably weren't going to get better than him by recasting.
I mean, our chat right now is a perfect encapsulation of life, where there's stuff that you and I hate. Other people are like, third season of Netflix Daredevil is amazing.
No, I've heard the third season is good
oh, really?
for a lot of people.
I didn't make it.
No, I didn't make it.
I
just don't
I didn't finish the second season.
Iron Fist basically broke me of ever watching Netflix Marvel ever again. That was some of the worst. The first 3 episodes in Iron Fist is some of the worst shit I've ever seen.
Eric Cartman I actually enjoyed Iron Fist.
Now, Iron Fist was ineptly made. Yeah. That's my thing. Is it's not just that I thought the story was bad, there are moments in that show where I am like, my producer brain is like, why did you put the fucking camera there?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It is nonsensically produced. I'm not 100% against giving Finn, what's his name, the guy who played Iron Fist, a second shot in the MCU, because I know he wants it.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody does.
And I'm sure part of it is, from what I understand, the second season he actually did get the time to because he basically didn't have time to train and learn the choreography because it was such a rushed thing, and frankly it looked like an ineptly scheduled and produced thing. And apparently in the second season and then the Defenders, he got the chance to really kind of get things down and do it better, but by that point everybody had already kind of bailed. So I wouldn't be against that. I also thought Luke Cage, was it Colton was the guy's name?
Yeah.
He played Luke Cage. Apparently he doesn't want to come back. I would take him back.
The way Marvel stuff's going right now, I could kind of understand.
No, I kind of understand that.
I saw a billboard for Thunderbolts on the way over here, and I was just like, I don't know anything about it, but I was looking at the billboard, and I'm like, it's probably going to fail, just like all the other Marvel stuff in the last couple of years.
Thunderbolts is tracking pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah. Now that the advertising pivoted, and it's no longer just like Black Widow 2, it's focusing on the Void and the Sentry, which is a much more interesting idea.
And it's doing better.
And people seem more. I mean, it was definitely the one I was least interested in for a long time, because it's like, okay, a bunch of people that shoot guns.
Right.
Team. I mean, it's just. The stakes feel so low.
They feel like superheroes.
Right, but
yeah.
the Void and the Sentry are basically Superman, and so there's going to be a difference there. We'll see. I'm still a little annoyed that they put Bucky in that one and not Captain America 4, because it's like you spent a whole TV series building up the relationship between those two, which I thought worked really well, and then you didn't put it in the. Now I got to watch him with all these other people.
It doesn't make any sense.
He shows up for one scene, and that's also Bucky's a congressman now.
Right.
Didn't he kill JFK?
Right. Yeah.
And he's I know they don't know that necessarily. It's like, that's weird, right?
Yeah. As a fan, you know that.
Right. But people
which makes
in
it
the universe
weird.
know that too.
Right.
Like the people in like the president knows that.
Yeah,
Like Ross knows that.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Wouldn't Ross be like, hey, that guy who defied us and assassinated many Americans is now a congressperson?
Something's fishy about that.
That seems weird, but I'm a Hulk, so I guess I can't talk, right?
Eve Demon says that he's kind of annoyed at Microsoft for stepping on Expedition 33, another Game Pass game they marketed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There might be some crossover between Oblivion.
Yeah, to be fair, Expedition 33 does seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, it's on every platform.
So it's it's not.
You can get it other places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can get Oblivion on PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're multi-platform. I mean, I don't see the big deal. J Reed Vic 7, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. That's awesome. Rosencrantz, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1.
I'm very curious how Oblivion will do, just in the sense that I've seen so many people being like, I don't want to play that again.
It's 19 years old.
It is. It's very. I mean, I don't know what kind of updates they've made to like how it plays, if anything. But you gotta be more than just looking better.
Oh, we got a hype chest. What'd we get? Oh,
Mood.
a mood emoji. Choo choo.
Choo choo mood.
Yep. Lynn Jeff 99, thank you. Hope you're doing good. Haven't seen or talked to you for a bit. Hope life is treating you well. Mighty Pony Girl agrees with you. Game of Thrones was the first one I got burned on.
Yeah, Lost and Dexter. I mean, Dexter was pretty. I didn't watch Dexter, but I saw.
I didn't either.
understand.
I saw people.
I understand why people are so mad about that. I thought Lost had some real bad episodes near the end, but the finale was okay.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, honestly, is the only example I can think of a show that the last season was so bad and the final episode was so extra bad that I'm like, I'm erasing this whole thing from my mind. Because I actually really liked the first few seasons. I really liked the books. I
hated the last episode of Lost more than I hated the last episode of Game of Thrones.
I thought the last episode of Lost was just sort of fine.
I just kind of knew what was going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the problem with the last episode of Lost is like the show had hit such higher highs than that, and it just felt like a letdown to go out on that. When in the meantime you're thinking about episodes like The Constant and that first time you saw Inside the Hatch and realized you were inside the hatch and like it was make your own kind of music. I mean, Lost's overarching plot is awful, but it has some of the greatest character moments in television of that era. Like Desmond is one of the greatest TV characters ever made, I think. And like it's just hard to balance how much you love those individual things in Lost with how stupid how
they lost the plot picture. Ultimately. Yeah, exactly. Literally, they lost the plot. That's where it comes from.
And now they've got the showrunners from that doing a Star Wars show.
Oh, really?
I think it's a Star Wars show.
I mean, I'll watch. I'll admit it.
I'm like, do we finally get to find out what that four-toed statue was about? Because that could have been a Star Wars thing, right? That could have been an alien.
Maybe they'll cross over. Oh, wow, we got a lot of stuff to get to here in the chat. Vinu Raba, thank you for Twitch Prime. What else we got here? Manny on the Moon, thank you. Raptor1313. Fanig. Wow, that's a hard one. Fanigtinamen. How would you pronounce that? That's a tough one. Farfignugan, like Volkswagen?
No, that's a joke.
Phalanx MD, thank you. Pluto4224, thank you. Slippy47, thank you. Who else we got in here? Who hooked us up? Don Lionheart, thanks. Cinetyke, thank you. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Vincent? Hope you're doing good. Dark Force 256, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. He's also downloading the Oblivion Remaster right now. Like 20 more hours to go. Well, we're glad to be of service. We'll take another 2 or 3.
220 gigs is not nothing.
It's a lot, yeah. Glottis021, thank you.
The other original was a little smaller.
Yeah. Mitchell Ness says he's already 4.5 hours into the game. You're making it happen.
Yeah, well, that's 9 a.m. Well, 9 a.m. here. I don't know where he is.
Here's who's making it happen. Don Lionheart is making it happen, dropping all those Tier 1 subs into our chat. Thank you so much. And he says, Happy Oblivion Day. A lot of people are really excited about this. Erebus Jones, thank you for Twitch Prime. Hope you're doing good, man. What else we got in here? It launches Thursday, Vincent says. Reviews are tomorrow.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Yeah. Justin Ontario says, I'm still on AC Shadows. Emperor Dread, thank you for Twitch Prime.
A lot of people are still on AC
Shadows. I mean, that's a big, big game. I know I was struggling to finish it in time to talk about it.
I'm still on AC Shadows.
Yeah.
But luckily...
I still go back and play it.
Luckily, it's pretty easy to go back to.
Yeah, I mean, after you finish it, you just go back into the open world. So I keep going back in and I've just continued to play it. David Nordic, thank you. And I think that's everybody. I caught everyone, hopefully. Not Cirque, I think I got you already. Cinetyke says, I didn't know there was a new Black Mirror season. Yet Netflix didn't really market it at all.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stealth drop.
Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, but I still haven't got to watch it either. So that's this weekend, I think. I'll probably dive into Black Mirror. And because they're all shorts, you can literally get through usually a season in like 3 or 4 hours. It's like the length of a really long movie. Lord Darian, thank you as well for gifting a Tier 1 sub. That's awesome, man. To Feronis95, thank you. And welcome, Feronis95. Eat Demon says, Oblivion Remastered, currently 140
Is that 1.4 million CCUs?
I think he's saying 140K would be my guess.
140K?
That'd be my guess. You're not saying like 1.4 million concurrents on Steam right now, are you? Noxator United says Oblivion plays quite a bit better. Not as good as Avowed, but easily better than Skyrim. Okay.
Interesting.
Mellow Pintor, look at all you guys buying subs today.
That would have to be a very different Oblivion. Then.
Yeah, seriously. Mellow Pintor, thank you for gifting a Tier 1 sub to Base 08090. That's awesome. Threadzilla, thank you for Twitch Prime. Mermelson says, I'm still in Balatro. Call of Dookie, thank you for subscribing with a Twitch Prime. Okay, 141K. That's what we thought. 141,000. That's still amazing. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, that's a big freaking number.
Better than Outrun.
For a 19-year-old game.
Well, now it's a 3.5-hour-old game.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. I mean, we're about to talk about it, actually, so maybe I should that just segues nicely, actually, into what we're about to do. Which is talk about The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. So it was stealth launched today, or shadow dropped, whatever the kids like to say. Are you surprised at how many changes they've made to this, Matt?
I don't actually know how many changes.
Oh.
I mean, I know it's Unreal 5 running on top of the original engine. Mm-hmm. But
actually, I didn't know that it's running on top of the old engine.
Yeah, it is still the same engine.
Really? How did they do that?
You just run Unreal 5 as basically a visual engine on top of it.
Interesting. I didn't know that was even possible.
That's what I read they were doing, because apparently the bones of it underneath are still the same thing.
Skeleton or whatever.
Which I guess is sort of why they're calling it a remaster instead of a remake. I mean, this is a remake.
It really is, yeah.
It's just that remastered is a cooler sounding word.
Remake
like Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered sounds way cooler than remade.
Yeah, you're right.
Remade sounds like you fixed a mistake. Remastered sounds like, I don't know, somebody did some turntable scratching and all of a sudden like Fantasy came out or something. You know?
I mean, and let's be honest, like the average consumer doesn't know the difference between a remaster and a remake.
It's a split hair.
It's something we argue about, but the average person doesn't know anything about it.
For anyone who's buying stuff on the shelf. I mean, not that this is on a shelf, but you know.
Yep. Well, this game was made in partnership with the studio called Virtuos, and Virtuos has done a ton of remasters and remakes in the past. They're kind of known for that. But Bethesda also worked on this game with Virtuos. So this wasn't Virtuos on its own. It worked in conjunction with Bethesda, which does annoy me a little bit because they did kind of drop a couple things about the Elder Scrolls 6 in this presentation. And I'm like, well, you've been working on this thing. Shouldn't you have been working on that new thing instead? I don't know how much. They didn't really say exactly how much time they dedicated to it, but they had interviews with tons of people from Bethesda in that thing that they put out.
I mean, I'm sure they were basically functioning as consultants the whole time. Yeah.
Probably.
It wouldn't take enough people that it would make any difference to 6. 6 will be around in 2028, and you'll be happy about it.
I'll be relieved.
And you'll like it.
And you'll like it.
Right alongside The Last of Us 3.
Yeah, so this game, if you don't remember, or maybe you're just too young to remember, was Game of the Year in 2006. And here we are in 2025, 19 years later, it's being remade. They say they use the word refined because but they haven't just touched up the graphics. As we mentioned, it's now been sort of built on Unreal Engine 5, so obviously it looks a lot better. It runs in 4K, 60 frames per second, but they also improved the visuals, the character models. They did so much work on this game. It really is crazy. But not just on the visuals. They also refined the gameplay and a bunch of other stuff that really, honestly, this game needed.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start going through some of the stuff that they've done. So, sort of top view, they've updated the leveling systems, character creation, combat animations, in-game menus. You can also play through the base game, obviously, plus the Shivering Isles and the Knights of the Nine story expansions. As we said, it's on Unreal Engine 5 at 4K 60. It has all new textures, all new lighting effects, and landscape improvements. The game also updates everything from characters, spells, and weapon animations to the dynamic time of day and the weather effects. So, I mean, basically everything. Horse armor is a go, but you have to buy the deluxe edition to get the horse armor. I think otherwise it still costs like $10 or something crazy. Like it's almost like a nod of, I don't even know what you would call it at this point.
For continuity's sake,
nod of acquiescence or something. They've gone back, and this is actually really cool. They've gone back and they've recorded new lines of dialogue, but they've been very careful not to replace sort of all the meme-worthy lines that have been in the old game.
Indeed.
Right, exactly. Like, that's going to be in there. Like, all that kind of stuff. They were very conscious of making sure they didn't remove a lot of the charm that was in the game.
Yeah, well, it's like if you remade Skyrim, you can't remove the arrow to the knee line.
Yeah, right, yeah. So they kept all the quirky dialogue. They've completely overhauled the HUD. All the menus and the maps have been completely reworked. The improved UI is for systems like the Persuasion, Clairvoyance, and more. As we mentioned, they've made modifications to the leveling. Encumbrance, thank God. Thank God they've tweaked the encumbrance. They've made changes to the non-combat perks. Other gameplay mechanics they've altered. They've improved the enemy scaling, which is another issue with this game.
Yeah, the enemy scaling was really annoying.
Yeah.
It never felt like you made any progress.
Right. Yeah, it was just always dead even. It always felt the same. They've tweaked how autosaves work, and they've revived both the first-person and third-person cameras. So, did you play this in first or third person, Matt?
First.
Yeah, me too.
I've never played a Bethesda game in third person.
Me either, actually.
They don't work.
Yeah, I don't either. But it looks like it sounds like, anyway, they've made a bunch of changes to the third-person camera if you prefer to play that way. Maybe it's actually manageable. I won't try it either.
I do generally prefer to play games third person, like action and things like that. But I've never found Bethesda's third person to be acceptable.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
with
even
that.
on Starfield.
No, I agree. Yeah, I played Starfield in first person as well. Really the big thing here is how drastically overhauled the visuals are in this game. It is really insane. I mean, they basically just...
Like, if I didn't know what this was, it would take me a while to realize it was Oblivion.
Right, yeah. A long time to realize. I'd
have to recognize architecture or location or something.
Right.
Or a character.
Yeah, I mean...
And I wouldn't recognize the character because they look very different.
Yeah, most of these environment pans, it could just be a brand new RPG. I would never know.
I'd know that flag. Mm-hmm. And I know those sign, and I know
that building.
I know the middle of Syria. Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, they have done a grand job. They are selling this for $50. It's available for PC, PS5, Xbox Series. But as we always say on GameFace, just get Game Pass. It's also on Game Pass. For console Game Pass, is $20 a month.
Although, again, if you want the horse armor,
right,
you're going to have to pay more.
PC Game Pass is $11, and we've already been talking about all the amazing games that have come out this month. There is no better time than right now to subscribe on Game Pass. You also have an awesome game that's launching on Thursday. After all the stuff we've talked about in GameFace for the last 4 weeks that's on Game Pass, you have this. Wow. I mean, finally, Microsoft is starting to deliver on the promise of Game Pass. I do wonder if maybe they should be a little more open about stuff that they're working on. Like, this being shadow dropped seems like it's detrimental to Game Pass. Like, it feels like you should have pumped this up for at least a month or two maybe before you launched it.
I don't know. Like, I don't really know. I mean, obviously people are playing it, but part of the reason it's exciting is you don't have to wait for it. It's a 19-year-old game. Why make people wait for it?
Yeah.
Just do it.
It just might have
gotten hurt. They got 140,000 people playing on a Tuesday morning.
Well, that's on Steam, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they got people to pay full price on Steam.
Right.
That's
what
the crazy part.
If Steam has that many people having paid for it, you're going to have way more people playing it on Game Pass, probably.
I mean, that's the crazy part, is that there were 140,000 people who decided they would buy it instead of just paying $11 to play it on Game Pass.
Some people are very dedicated to only having Steam on the computer, and they don't want any other apps, including the Xbox app.
That seems crazy.
I think you don't even have a choice on that,
yeah,
right? It's just there whether you like it or not. And the Xbox app does suck. But
but it's not hurting anything being there.
It's fine.
Like, people are odd. But instead of spending $50, 140,000 people. I mean, I'm sure Bethesda's happy.
At least $50 is a pretty good price for this.
Right. I mean, if you're Microsoft, what are you more happy about? About people signing for Game Pass or 140,000 people paying full price for the game?
I don't know.
That they could have got for $11.
I mean, I feel like there's no real bad outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, right? Either way, it's good. It's all good for Microsoft. I do feel like they probably could have got some signups for Game Pass if they had promoted this, but maybe that's not what they want anymore. Maybe they're like, you know what, we'd rather sell our games again for full price.
I mean, they're clearly like just shotgun affecting all their... And now that they have games to put out, there's like, there's just stuff. There's just stuff to play. I mean, Indiana Jones just came out on PS5 like last week. You got this, you got, Expedition 33...
I mean, Microsoft is becoming one of the most prolific publishers.
Yeah, well, they're finally putting out as many the amount of games you'd expect from someone who has bought all these companies.
It spent $70 billion.
They've finally gone through the process of making all these new games. So, and if this is just their output kind of going forward, then that's pretty good.
I mean, the funny part is Microsoft is a better PlayStation 5 publisher than Sony.
Certainly
way better.
For the last 2 years.
Yeah. They're crushing Sony.
We might not even get a Naughty Dog game this generation.
Seriously. I mean, Microsoft has made more money off the PlayStation 5 in the last 2 years software-wise than Sony has.
Well, Sony does get a cut of all of it.
It does, but I'm just saying.
And because it's on the discs.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still on those discs.
It's crazy, though, that Microsoft has become this prolific publisher on PlayStation 5. Like, all the times, they're more than changing people. They're going berserk.
Well, and don't forget that they also just made $1 billion on the Minecraft movie.
Oh, right.
They get a cut of that.
Oh, they did.
They own it.
Oh, you mean Microsoft. I thought you were talking about Sony.
Microsoft.
Yeah. I thought maybe Sony Pictures had a part in
Microsoft is having a pretty good year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, to your point, like, maybe it doesn't care anymore where the money's coming from. It's like, we're just going to do our thing, and if people want to subscribe with Game Pass and pay monthly, fine. If they want to pay full price for our games, fine.
Yeah, I mean, my guess right now would basically be that beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
And wherever the revenue streams happen to be, we'll find them, we'll focus on them, and we'll readjust later. You know, like they will. Well, let's just throw everything at everything and see where we're making money. And when we identify those locations, we can hone in. I think that's probably because they haven't had the opportunity to really even study that idea for almost 10 years.
Right.
You know, like they're finally in a position where they can just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall.
And it'll stick.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to throw at the wall.
Yeah.
Before. You know, you can only throw Gears of War at the wall so many times.
Yeah. And they're about to throw Gears at the wall again here in like a year.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's been a while.
Right, yeah. It has been. I mean, Microsoft is on a run here. It's on a tear. Like, it's pretty awesome to see after literally 15 years of Gears, Halo, Forza. Gears, Halo, Forza.
Although I wouldn't mind a Forza Horizon 6.
Oh, of course not.
At some point.
Of course not. I mean, it's obviously it's coming for sure eventually. Who knows when? But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like they needed a Forza Horizon every other year.
No, I mean, I think they did then.
They did then.
They don't need it now.
Nope.
They've got other stuff.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there's still all these other games that are in development at Microsoft that, like Fable, like who knows when that's coming out? Like,
not this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of big stuff still coming.
Outer Worlds.
It's really amazing.
Coming,
yeah.
Presumably there's a Halo in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yep. We got a lot of people talking about this in chat. Let's go to them and see what they're saying here. Let's see. And as always go at SIFTD Games. It helps us figure out, one, that you guys are talking to us and you want to talk to us. We can see the black bars in our peripheral vision. So always do that if you want to say something in chat that you want us to respond to. Vincent says, if you're going to play this for 6 months, it's a better deal to buy it outright, much less if you play it for 6 years. That's a good point.
But it will go on sale eventually.
Yeah.
You can get it for cheap. I mean, it's not going to leave Game Pass anytime soon.
I mean, to Vincent's point, some people, it will take them 6 months to play this.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it'll take them
like
a week and a half.
Like
but...
Dungeons of Hinterberg is about to leave Game Pass, but that was a year ago.
Right.
Like, you got time.
Yeah. Yep. Retro Modern Gamer, they have to make that Microsoft CEO happy. That's actually what I was about to say, is like, whatever they're doing, they're just trying to keep Nadella happy. So he leaves them alone, and Xbox continues to exist. Because I do think that people at Xbox are afraid that one day they're going to come to work, and it's just going to be like, that's it. You're not never really been a part of our core business, and you guys aren't pulling the weight anymore. And I think any way they can drive revenue, they'll do it.
I mean, Bill Gates is like, apparently when they formed that division, the Xbox division, Bill Gates' mandate was basically own the interactive world at any cost. And he's long gone, and I imagine that will only that only carries so much weight for so long too. It's like, well, what is this even for anymore?
Yeah.
But like, and I mean, that kind of did happen with the Xbox One. Like, outside forces from other divisions came in and sort of turned it into this mess of a
trash.
Master.
It really was a
nothing.
piece of trash. It really was. Fruit Eater, do you think Xbox can sustain this rate of releases, or is this the stars aligning in terms of releases? A little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think there will be a pretty steady stream. I don't think it'll be as like
this right now.
The first half of this year
Yeah.
will be, but like I think you will see like a couple things a quarter.
I think you'll probably see a big game every 2 or 3 months, probably.
Yeah, I think a big game every quarter with some smaller things mixed in is about what I would expect. I mean, basically what they used to do in the 360 era.
I don't think they'll get to Nintendo's cadence where it's like one big game or semi-big game every month.
Well, also, I don't always agree with Nintendo's definition of big game.
Right.
Like, a Kirby game is not a big game.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
really not.
Like, I know if you're a Kirby fan, it's a big game, but like, it's not a big
To
game.
the average consumer, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically for the average consumer, you're talking Mario, Zelda, not even Metroid.
No, Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon.
Yeah, that's pretty
games.
much it. Yeah,
and that's about it.
That's enough for Nintendo.
Like, that doesn't mean I love Metroid and Fire Emblem way more than all those other things, but like they aren't. Fire Emblem is not
it's
keeping
gonna
the
sell
lights on.
2 million units or whatever if it's a good one.
It's good. Yeah. Great.
Yep. Jerry Vic.
Sacred Stones is up on the Nintendo Online GBA thing right now. It's a great game.
20 years old now.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's on that thing, but it's also on my Game Boy. I have that. I don't need to pay.
I
don't need to pay you money every year to do that. I have a cartridge.
But is it more convenient to play it on your TV, on your Switch?
Not really. I have an analog.
Jerry Vic 7. I'm playing Oblivion on Game Pass Ultimate at the moment, but I was always going to buy it eventually to support the studio. The interesting thing is that today Bethesda sent me a code for Oblivion out of nowhere. I was surprised. Like, it's not something it usually does. So, but they sent me one today. So I guess I own it instead of having it on Game Pass.
The blitz on this is very wide. It seems like they just want the word out.
Yeah. Again, Shadow Drop. That's why they went so far and why it was code distribution. Commander Fett says it's still Oblivion. I was watching a stream and the NPCs still talk over each other. They intentionally left that stuff in there,
because that's Oblivion.
Weird bugs where you'll see
moving.
NPCs get in a line and just walk into a wall. Like they've left all that stuff in there, because it is what Oblivion is. Like it's warts and all. I mean, let's be honest. Like it was never a perfect game, but it was Game of the Year.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, it is part of it.
Luke TG1, your good friend, you gamers. What's up, Luke? How you doing, man? Hope you're well. I hope you're well too. I can't recommend Kazan enough. Great game. I'll never play that game. When people told me it was harder than Dark Souls, I was like, I'm good. I'll take a pass on that one. Retro Modern Gamer, they still have Doom, Outer Worlds 2, and Call of Duty this year. Yeah, so that's 3 big games to get them out through 8 months. So it's a game every 2 or 3 months. Big game every 2 or 3 months. Yeah. Although Outer Worlds 2, based upon some of the stuff that IGN's been doing with it, it's looking a little rough.
Man, I have not seen a single other person say that about that.
Really?
Now, everyone has just been 100% positive on that.
Wow.
I really don't know.
Because I watch everything? A lot of people don't.
I don't know. I watched it. It didn't seem all that exciting, but it seemed fine.
Yeah, I mean, they've put out 6 things at this point for their monthly thing, and I've watched them all. So I don't know if other people have, but I have, and that's my opinion. Ashes in the Hourglass. Kirby might be big now since Forgotten Land sold like 8 million. It did? I didn't know that, actually.
It did do better than normal.
Which I'm not surprised at, because it was great.
I mean, it's a more full-fledged game than what Kirby usually gets.
But 8 million, I never saw that figure at all. Wow. That's way bigger than I thought. Like, I thought it may have done 4, because most Kirby games do like 1 or 2 million. And because it was so much better than most Kirby games, are you sure about that number, Retro Ashes in the Hourglass?
Post-apocalyptic's big these days.
And don't cite VG charts either. That's not legit.
The Kirby of us.
I need a Nintendo press release or a Nintendo releasing that number before I'm going to believe it.
Yeah, that's something they would brag about.
Right. I haven't seen that number anywhere, so maybe. It's on Wikipedia, where anybody can go and add whatever they want.
What's the source on Wikipedia?
Yeah, what's the source on Wikipedia? What do they cite? Congram 1, I think releasing this beside Expedition 33 is the same mistake Sony is making, releasing Soul Aside beside Elden Ring Night Rain. Lost Soul Aside, I think it's tracking pretty low, Congram. I don't even know what that is. I don't think it's going to infringe on the sales of Elden Ring Night Rain in any way.
I think he means that Night Rain's going to bury Lost Soul Aside.
Oh, I see.
Which is
that
true,
could very well be, but they're pretty different games.
Very different, yeah. And same with Expedition and Oblivion are very different audiences.
Yeah, one's a turn-based RPG. The other one is this classic from 20 years ago. Vincent says, don't forget Tony Hawk as well. Yeah, I guess that will be on Game Pass. I didn't think about that. It will be. Yeah. So that's another big game. So that's 4. So that's 1 every 2 months. That's not bad. That's not a bad cadence.
Yes, Minority Games, the Brotherhood is in Oblivion.
Ashes says, just check the source, and it's Nintendo's fiscal report. It's at 7.5. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that information, Ashes. Appreciate that. Noxator says, if you like combo-based action combat, then you would probably like Kazan. I played it. I played Kazan. I played the demo, and it, like, believe me, that was enough. I mean, Matt would like it. It's not for me. You guys know that. You guys know I'm not into those games.
I will never probably try it just because I don't like how it looks. It's a visually boring game to me. I am up to here. I'm immune to dark fantasy at this point.
It's also too much. Pretty low rent as far as that's concerned. Like the cinematics are kind of hacked together. Like, I don't know. It looks like it's really hard though, and if that's what you like, then have at it.
I've played enough Souls-likes forever.
Forever.
I think.
Sleeping Turtle 3, thank you for Twitch Prime. You're the best, bro. Andy Timonan could never finish that Dark Brotherhood quest because of one bug that wouldn't trigger the
Yeah, I remember
dialogue.
that.
That's the worst. I hate that, man. When
I
the
didn't
game
have
won't
that
let you
happen.
finish the game.
I didn't have that happen in mine on the 360, but I do remember that the complaints about that.
Are you going to play it?
Yeah, I'll play. I mean, it's installed. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I'll play. It depends how much they've tweaked it to feel more like Skyrim, because the combat in Oblivion was not amazing. And after I basically sleepwalked through the last 40 hours of that game, because I everything was level scaled to me, and I was as powerful as I could possibly be. And it was just they couldn't hurt me, so it was just like I just slash them and slash them and slash them until their life bar went to 0, and then that was the whole last 30 hours of the game. I burned through this Shivering Isles stuff just because I was so bored.
Yeah. I see myself playing Oblivion Remastered for about 3 hours.
I'm sure I'll play it longer than that, but it depends. Like, the problem I had with Oblivion, especially in hindsight, in terms of what they improved in Skyrim, is the only functional way to build your character is melee, because the archery was very imprecise and required too much stamina to be a main. Archery and magic were basically supplemental combat methods. They were not a way to build you cannot build a functional mage, because the mana didn't regenerate properly. Until you get. I mean, eventually you probably could, because you could build. You could forge ridiculous gear that could do anything. But from the bulk of the game, you were basically stuck whacking things with a sword or an axe if you wanted to actually make any real progress. And I just found it just got boring after a while.
That's why I think I'll make it about 3 hours in, and I'll be like, I get it. I'm good. I played this.
Compared to Skyrim, I think the story is a little, and I think the location is a little, it's just a big. I mean, it's pretty. It's a big grassy area, but it's like Skyrim has a bunch of different environments.
There's more
variety. Dragons everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of weird shit. There's giants walking around herding
the magic system's way better.
Bigger
There's
and
so much
weirder and crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, a lot of Skyrim is going into caves and fighting the same draugrs over and over again, but it's like Oblivion's going to the same tombs and fighting the same skeletons over and over again. I mean, it's just like what's going to happen in a world with undead, apparently, as long as Todd Howard is calling the shots. So
yeah.
I mean, I'll play it for as long as it holds my attention. I just don't really know how long that will be.
I'm just estimating 3 hours.
I certainly do. I'm estimating longer than that, but I also estimate that Expedition 33 will pull me away from it pretty handily, just because that seems like a more interesting idea.
I'm actually really excited for that game. You guys should be too. It's looking pretty cool. So anyway, there you go. That's the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. Another thing that leaked way before it was ever announced. I mean, it really feels like, other than even Nintendo with the Switch 2, no surprises by the end. It just feels like everything leaks now. When it used to be leaks were the exception. Now when something doesn't leak, that's the exception. It's really crazy. I'd wonder how do these people keep getting away with it? Like that Billy Coon or whatever, whoever that is. How do they keep getting away with it? How do people not figure out who they are?
It just ain't that deep.
Yeah.
It ain't that serious.
People just don't care, I guess. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, it didn't hurt them.
You would think Nintendo would be if there was one company.
And a lot of times I think it's intentional.
Maybe they're feeding these people.
They got better buzz on the leaks of this thing than they would have if they just not had anything happen and they just dropped it this morning.
I'm surprised Nintendo. Maybe
instead of just talking about it this morning, we've talked about this for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly intentional.
Maybe. It could be. Nate the Hate, he knew all the stuff about Switch too. They could have been feeding him that information.
It's possible. I mean, probably Nintendo isn't doing that. I would imagine Nintendo is.
If there's one company,
Nintendo's way too anal about stuff to be doing intentional leaks, I think, for the most part. But this is the best way to get people interested in this, to rumor it. And also, you kind of give people time to get used to it, and so you don't run into the thing where you suddenly drop this out of nowhere and everyone's like, oh, they just did it to screw over the Skyblivion team. It's just okay, people,
I mean, it is true that leaks have become a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Because they spread like wildfire on social media. Is that more important and better than having a trailer? That probably.
Yeah.
You put out your debut trailer, you're probably not going to get as much pin action on social media as you would if it was leaked.
Because the leak thing starts arguments about whether it's real or not.
It's a salacious story, and that draws eyeballs. That may be the truth of it. It may just be a new tactic for marketing games at this point. Just give it to somebody. Choose me next time. I mean, how do they choose these people is really the interesting question. How do they decide who the person is that they're going to give the info to?
Well, it's because it's interesting because most of the people who leak stuff are actually people who got reputations for legitimate leaks.
Right, yeah.
And
they've continued.
They've been identified as I mean...
The funny part about it
I guess a term would be useful idiot to some degree. But I think they all know what they're doing.
The funny part about it is most of them aren't journalists. So they're not actually like parlaying these scoops into page views. Like, it's really funny, too. Like, the guy from Windows Central, Jez Corden, he plays it all wrong. Like, he will just go on Twitter and just be like, hey, I heard this. It's like, no, dude. Like, write a story about it on your website.
No one's going to go to the website.
I mean, at first they will, and eventually it'll get disseminated on social media.
One person will, and then a screenshot will circulate around Twitter, and that'll be that.
I mean, it's better than nothing, getting some people to your website.
Most people consider the other way around better.
I mean, I guess it depends on the metrics for generating revenue on X.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whatever.
if you're the original tweet about it and you're just saying it, people will pass that around, and you're still getting your site seen in some form. The conversion rate is low no matter what.
Yeah.
So you might as well be the original source of it.
And display ad rates are so low that getting people to go to Windows Central, you probably would make less money per viewer than you would on Twitter.
People don't go to websites anymore.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that I remember in like the 90s and early 2000s when people were writing like future stuff, and you remember when like sci-fi and like near future stuff started finally incorporating the internet, like after it became like, people's like, oh, I guess we got to put
talk
this
about that now.
We got to put this, Back to the Future should have the internet in it. We didn't know that. One of the things I always found, like in Transmetropolitan and a bunch of other things like that, I always found like weird is that when they dealt with online stuff, everyone just talked about their feed. Everyone just talked about the news feed or the chat feed or the whatever, and like everything was just a chat room or like a list of articles. And I'm like, well, why nobody goes to websites or nobody browses forums or that? And it turned out that no, it all did become feeds. It all did become just the internet is just a scrolling chat box you look through to see who you're mad at or who said something stupid or what news happened. That's it. Like that's what the dead internet theory is undefeated. Like even this, we're not people watching us on Twitch or people watching that whatever, but like how many people go to SIFTD for that?
I mean,
it's hard to drive traffic to an actual website now. No one makes things.
It's not even now. It's been since like 2013.
Oh, yeah. Well, that internet theory goes back that far.
It's when social media launched and they started linking into the websites, people just started coming in however the social media platforms got them in. It's a side door, a back door, a door in the top, in through the base, whatever.
It's just
it wasn't about typing in gametrailers.com anymore and hitting enter and going to the homepage and seeing what we were trying to present, because we spent time every day there programming the homepage. Like, I would sit down with the people who, like, publish the stuff on the site, and I would stack the website every night. Yeah. Well, so the last thing I did before I left was making sure the hot stuff was at the top, less hot stuff at the bottom, which is why a big reason why I launched SIFTD, because I was doing this manually, and I'm like, why am I not creating a website where this just happens automatically for every user, specific to that user?
Because most people would consider that to be Twitter.
Right, yeah. Well,
that's what the feed
SIFTD is a social media network for gamers. That's what it is. So it's just a different form of social media where we control what goes into the machine instead of letting all the users put whatever they want into the machine.
Yeah, unfortunately, the inmates running the asylum seems to be what the popular model is.
No, you're right.
At this point.
Yeah, but I mean, me trying to launch a competitor to Twitter would be idiotic.
Well, give it time.
Yeah. Actually, no, another year or two from now, maybe it's a better idea. But
it also doesn't, I mean, Google search is broken now. It doesn't tell you anything.
It's just AI now.
It's just AI, and it's always wrong.
I
saw a thing was like, was it was a tweet, and it was like me watching Bob Ross use cadmium blue and spray odorless paint thinner through the air every time he cleans his brush, and it's Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar like banging on the thing like, no, because there's a theory. It's probably not true because really the answer is the man smoked 2 packs a day for his entire life. But there's a belief somewhat that maybe the cadmium blue and the paint thinner breathing
gave him
contributed
cancer
to his
or
lung
something.
cancer. Now it's probably because he smoked his entire life. It's probably not true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that can aggravate something, but like, who knows?
Yeah.
But
it was probably the smoking.
Yeah. I'm sure that didn't help, but
honest.
I feel like you inhaled a lot more nicotine smoke than you did paint.
Yes,
thinner,
probably
right?
so. Yeah.
But someone responded with there's always the dipshit or 4 or so in the replies to everything that instantly put whatever they read into and asked like some AI like, what does this mean? Summarize what it is. It's like, and it was like. And it was Google's AI, and it said that the scene with Matthew McConaughey was from Ad Astra. And it's like, no, and I was like, no, it's from Interstellar, you dumb shit. Like, what is it? And the guy's like, well, I mean, I didn't know I've never seen the thing. It's like, yeah, but why are you fucking asking AI when you don't even know anything? You wouldn't even know if it's wrong or not. Like, what do you, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Everything's upside down, Matt. It really is. Because everyone's just going to trust an AI, and it can tell them anything. Like, oh, you're right, because you're AI. No, they're not.
No.
They're really not.
They're wrong all the fucking time.
Yeah, it really is.
And they're wrong about, like, basic shit.
I know, the most simple things.
It's like, that's not Brad Pitt.
Because you got to realize, to AI, nothing is simple. No. Everything's the same. It goes through the same process. It's not like a human where it's like, everybody knows that. Like, AI isn't like that. It goes through the same process every time to try to find the truth.
And that's why those captcha... Do you know what the captcha things are actually measuring?
Interaction.
The way you move the pointer.
Yeah.
Because a computer will just do that. If you do them too efficiently and quickly, you'll fail them.
No, you're right. Yeah,
and I do that all the time.
I do too.
Like, I gotta be an idiot.
I gotta try it again.
Oh, where's the bicycle? I don't know. Like, that gotta be a bicycle. I don't know. And like then you pass it. It's ridiculous.
It's funny. All right. Well, I don't know how we got on this, but anyway, there you go. That's the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. That's GameFace in a nutshell. That's how we roll. That's how it happens here on GameFace.
I mean, it is a game about portals to madness and hell. So that's how we got on it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next big reveal from this week. A brand new Star Wars game coming from Electronic Arts and Respawn. And it's not a Star Wars Jedi game, and it's not Battlefront. It is an XCOM clone being created by former XCOM developers called Star Wars Zero Company. It is coming in 2026 to PC, Xbox Series, and PS5. My guess is eventually they'll tack on Switch 2 to that. Looking at the gameplay that's in this, I'm pretty confident the Switch 2 can probably handle it.
I don't think that would be a problem for
the
Switch 2.
This is being built by a new studio called BitReactor that, again, has a bunch of people who defected from the XCOM team that are working on this. And it's also being built in conjunction with Respawn. Not sure how much input Respawn has on this. This is not really in Respawn's wheelhouse by any stretch of the imagination.
Making sure Star Wars doesn't suck is in their wheelhouse.
That is probably their job, right? Yeah. The Star Wars part isn't screwed up.
They're also the only the only developer that has effectively leverage bargained with Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
So that's probably helped. Because if you remember, they weren't going to let them use Jedi.
Yeah, right. That's right.
And Respawn was like,
wait a minute.
Well, then fuck you.
Yeah,
then.
what are we going to do?
They're like, we don't know if you've earned to use Jedi
off.
yet. And it's like,
F off.
You want this? Basically, they were like, do you want this to sell or not?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the truth.
And they were correct because if you don't have a lightsaber in one of your character's hands, you're in trouble. Care. And if you don't believe me, go talk to Solo and go talk to Outlaws. Yeah. The underworld shit does not sell on its own.
Yeah. So this game takes place after the Clone Wars, or
near the end of the.
They're wrapping up, right?
Yeah, it's in the late stages, I believe.
It follows Hawk. He's an ex-Republic officer, and he's tasked with creating and commanding an elite squad of cunning operatives in order to take down an emerging threat that apparently can't be neutralized through the use of traditional warfare. Apparently, the twist is that Hawks and their recruits can be fully customized and prepared for action however you want. I don't know if that's a twist, but that was the boilerplate PR statement from Electronic Arts.
I guess that's different from XCOM.
Yeah, I guess.
When everyone's stuck in their class.
Right.
Does that mean I can make that droid a Jedi?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
So for those of you who are not familiar with XCOM, like all two of you, it is a turn-based strategy game where it's all about like getting position, getting behind cover, and then executing. Basically, either you want to attack or you want to flank or whatever. It's a turn-based game that has a lot of cinematic flourishes, I guess is the best way to put it. The attacks from each unit are something that generally you're excited to see for the first time, and then you see them a million times and you don't care after that. But that's kind of how the game works. Generally, they are plot-driven, and in the XCOM games, you had a base that you were building while you're going out into the field, and you were recruiting and almost like breeding soldiers, basically.
Yeah, it was. There were some weird implications to some of that.
You think that's going to be in here?
No.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
It's going to be like your home base will be the ship, and you'll talk to each other and build the character relationships that way.
Yeah.
It's a small squad though, for this kind of game.
Yeah. What? It's like 6 people.
6 people, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which is enough, but like, I guess that's why they have to be so versatile, because you're not going to bring in new people doing new things. They have to learn how to do new things.
Because XCOM, you'd have dozens.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of them.
Yeah.
You have only so many different like roles or classes, but you could like Marvel Midnight Suns had tons of a lot of characters, and everybody had something different. So the variety will have to come from their ability to learn new things, I guess.
Yep. Here's more boilerplate copy. Each decision you make could be the difference between life and death. Okay, like every game.
Well, yeah, I played XCOM.
Yeah. Recruit.
And often the decision is, I've got 98% chance to hit. Oh, we're all dead.
Yeah, you're right. It's the worst. Recruit a dynamic squad of both authored and custom characters to tackle high-stakes battles and defeat your opponents. The key to success will be the bonds forged on the battlefield, turning the tide of battle in your favor. The fight is won both on and off the battlefield. Between missions, develop a base of operations and deploy informants to new and iconic locations across the galaxy. So you are kind of recruiting somebody?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be like the timed missions in like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Where you send guys out and they come back and be like, oh, there's a thing here.
Now we have resources or something like that. That'd be my guess.
Maybe like 1 out of 10 will result in a mission you go do.
Yep. Leverage your intel to navigate the conflicts of the Clone Wars and stay one step ahead of your adversaries. And then a quote from the developers from BitReactor. It's our aim to deliver a game with an original Star Wars story from the Clone Wars era that has meaningful outcomes from player choices and deep turn-based tactical combat with an approachable and cinematic presentation.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to bet that somewhere in the early to mid part of this game when the Order 66 thing comes down and it all goes sideways.
You think so?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason you set it at the end of the Clone Wars. The only reason to put something at the end of the Clone Wars is to basically have Order 66 happen and examine that turn.
Right.
Because I don't think you have any clone troopers here.
Not that I've seen.
You got a guy in the armor, but that's a Mandalorian. I think there's a guy in like kind of custom clone trooper. He may or may not be a clone. It's hard to tell. Mm-hmm. That guy, and but not everybody. And he's in phase 1 armor, so he might. That's an old school outfit he's got there. I don't know. Like we'll see, and like maybe he turns on you. Who knows? Because now that the canon now is they all have chips in their head.
Right.
But not all. Some of them the chips got damaged or they didn't. Mm-hmm. Captain Rex. Pretty much managed to get out of it with a little surgery.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see.
This is coming.
I would bet the biggest dramatic thing you can do is have Order 66 be the big turn, and all of a sudden you got to deal with the rising Empire,
which would be awesome. Honestly, I hope that happens.
It's hard to imagine that at some point that you won't shift from shooting battle droids to shooting stormtroopers.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like XCOM and the XCOM template has kind of waned over the last 5 years or so.
Well, I would say over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard sell. And I think the failure of Midnight Suns to sell, I think Midnight Suns is great.
It really is great.
It's one of the best examples of the genre, I think.
You're leading into what my next question was, so go ahead.
So like I don't know. It's like I don't know why you made this, really, but I am excited to play it. Like I want to play it, but it's like it's kind of like thank you, but I'm sorry about what's about to happen to you. You know, kind of thing, especially for a new company, you worry about whether they're going to survive what will almost certainly be underwhelming sales for this.
Right.
Like the idea that, if anything, you shouldn't have needed Star Wars Outlaws to teach you this, but if anything taught us this, it's like Star Wars is not a guaranteed.
It's not a license to print money.
No,
it's really not,
and it never has been.
Yeah.
Like a bad Star Wars game did not sell even back in the day.
Yeah,
like no one really bought Rebellion.
Yeah.
It was not a very good game.
Yeah.
And like obviously like the Episode 1 game sold like crazy because everything Episode 1 sold like crazy
because there was a drought.
It was hype. It was 16 years. Star Wars was back. Blah, 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 blah. And then everyone saw it and was like, oh. And like,
yep.
But like, oh, I'm not buying the Jar Jar tongue popsicle and the Chancellor Valorum with vetoing action.
I have a friend who bought all that stuff.
I bought a bunch of it,
and now he can't give it away
at the midnight launch. Yeah. Oh, the very few. The only thing from that midnight launch that's really worth anything is the Naboo Royal Star Cruiser.
Yeah,
with a full size.
Yeah.
And one of my friend Dave, we went to the midnight launch at Toys R Us, and he bought. That was one of the things he bought. And so, and I don't know if he still has it, but that thing's worth hundreds of dollars now.
I have a buddy who invested in that stuff. He spent $2,500 on Star Wars stuff.
Here's a tip for flipping action figure stuff over 10 to 15 years. The big stuff, the large stuff that takes up tons of space on the shelves, that's what becomes valuable because they don't make too many of them and they don't ship too many of them and stores don't stock too many of them. Like if you want to give the shelf space, like in Transformers, if you want a guaranteed thing that's going to be worth more than you paid for it, pick up those Titan class things, the combiners and the cities, because if you have the San Diego Comic-Con Metroplex from 2013, you can sell it for almost $1,000.
Really? Nice.
And I just had one of my friends from Ubisoft pick it up and hand it to me as I drove past the fucking. Literally drove past, jumped out, went in, grabbed it from her, gave her money, and left. That was all I wanted. I didn't want to go to Comic-Con. I just wanted Metroplex.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Erica.
Yeah, I think the prospects for this game are not great. It does feel like a dying genre. I feel like
it feels like a niche genre. I feel like if they spend the right amount of money and have the proper expectations for it, it should be fine. But just you get in trouble when you have something like Outlaws, where clearly Ubisoft expected that to sell, basically Jedi Survivor numbers, and it just
they're probably
it didn't, and it was never going to.
Yeah,
not because of any kind of chud logic, but because Star Wars is Jedi, Star Wars is the Force, Star Wars is lightsabers, and if you don't have any of those things in your marketing,
Ubisoft
you're going to have a problem.
They should have fought hard for it. Swan Senpai says, I got Outlaws for €20. Physical sealed in a toy shop. It tanked.
That's a good price for it.
Yeah.
We got the Hondo DLC coming in May 15th. That's a good.
Yeah. And it's coming to Switch too, obviously.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think Outlaws is fun. I mean, they've definitely improved it. The combat's way better. There's more options. I love that they added the ability, like the equipment on the stormtroopers. You can shoot different things, and it malfunctions and does stuff. Like there's a lot of cool things that should have been there at launch, absolutely, but it's definitely a better game now than when it launched. And the Honda trailer looked really cool. Honda's a great character. If people don't know who that is, if you haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars, he's a wheeling dealing mercenary like pirate guy. He's the
Swan
guy.
Senpai. No lightsabers. It's not Star Wars. Right there you go.
Pretty much. I mean,
there you go.
I mean, the underworld stuff and the Old West crime stuff is part of Star Wars, but it's flavor. It's not. It's not the appeal. It's not. No one wants to. Everyone wants to see Jabba the Hutt in a thing, but they don't want to buy the Jabba the Hutt game. You know what I mean?
Erebus Jones says Star Wars generic action figure squad. You mean? Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, you are running into the Star Wars Hunters problem here a little bit because there's nobody you know. I mean, again, the fact that one of the guys on the squad is a Jedi is a very important thing. You really need a lightsaber in your trailers.
Colin 1, I've been so checked out of Star Wars for over a decade. A Shadows of the Empire would be one of the few things I would be interested in.
That is interesting. You mean like a remaster
of the N64 game?
N64 game?
I mean, what else would it be? There was never a movie or anything.
Well, it was everything but a movie, basically. Yeah. I mean, that was the test bed for whether Star Wars could be launched as with the same fanfare and kind of marketing as a movie without a movie. It was a test run for Lucas to see if the interest was still there for the prequels to some degree.
Wow.
Which is why, I mean, they did everything. They had the game, they had a novel, they had an audio drama, and it wasn't just an audio book, it was an audio drama, like cast with people, and they had the toys, they had merchandise, they had tie-in. I mean, it was everything except a movie or a TV show.
Wow.
And it was the story of what happened between Empire and Jedi. Now, I would say you can't necessarily do that now. You can't bring Shadows back into canon because everything's too different between those movies now, especially who Boba Fett is. I will say that one of the things they announced at Celebration this week, they announced a bunch of action figures, obviously, for the Black Series. One of the things they announced Shizor, the lizard guy from Shadows of the Empire. A really nice new action figure of him. I was at Disneyland on Sunday to see the new light show thing, and they have a Shizor statue in the lightsaber store. Like, they are floating some Shadows of the Empire merch right now.
There you go.
Dash Rendar's getting a figure. They announced that too. Like, so Shadows of the Empire is getting some action. There's a bunch of weird shit coming back right now for Star Wars. So I wouldn't be super surprised if we saw some kind of Shadows of the Empire remaster thing. At least in the same way that Bounty Hunter got.
Right. Where it's just
because there is a PC version of Shadows of the Empire.
I didn't know that.
Because I have it. I have it
really?
on GOG.
I never knew that.
It's on GOG.
Wow.
It doesn't actually run very well, but it does exist.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So you could theoretically do the Bounty Hunter remastered treatment for it. I again, like Bounty Hunter, it would really just be a sad revelation of how bad that game actually is. As much as I did like some of it back in the day, it is the first time I believe you ever got to see what a Dianoga looked like under the water.
Yeah.
the monster in the trash compactor.
Yeah.
And that level was actually pretty creepy. The N64 doesn't get enough credit for how creepy its underwater shit is because of the fog.
You're right.
You know, I know
hiding things.
Yeah, I know it wasn't intentional, but even that banjo level is really this is weird. I don't like this. I don't like looking under the water.
Well, they also made the water like really dirty.
Yeah, it's just it's got a verisimilitude to it that I think is a little off-putting, and I kind of dig that. Credit to it.
Eve Demon says it wouldn't be XCOM if that didn't happen. Also, I can't see Disney letting permadeath being turned on for Jedi. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing is with XCOM, if you send somebody out and they died, they were gone. They'd never do that for Star Wars.
It'll be like Marvel where you just lose them for a turn.
Right. They need to get healed up or whatever. Yeah. Erebus asks, why are Lucasfilm so allergic to letting gamers play as known characters now? Given what this game looks like, the Bad Batch are right there, while the non-canon bothering no marks. A lot of it is probably the license that they're willing to give to these developers.
Somewhat. I mean, they're fine with like the main characters being in like throwaway like non-canon games like Galactic Heroes and the mobile stuff. But they have a big thing about having everything kind of fit together in canon, and there's a bunch of things. You know, there's a lot of moving parts for all that, and they're trying to avoid all that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like, and part of it's probably just scale. Like if you involve some of the main characters, you are automatically like, especially in like the timeline this takes place in the time period, you're kind of like, let's say instead of having this be a random squad of nobodies, you were a squad being commanded or kind of overseen by like Mace Windu, mm-hmm. or like Ki-Adi-Mundi or Plo Koon, like fan favorite Jedi Council people.
Yeah.
Now you've involved one of the leaders of the entire war effort, mm-hmm. and so like it has to be a much bigger scale. Now one thing I will say, if this is successful, I would love to play like an XCOM Star Wars game where it's like you are the Jedi Council kind of running the war effort from Coruscant. And so the battles take place like everywhere, and you have to kind of like
sending out the Jedi.
More XCOM thing where you kind of you kind of cover the whole world with XCOM, and
you
cover the whole galaxy. Like this might just be sort of like putting your foot in the pool before you make the game that would really be Star Wars XCOM, and I would be behind that too.
Congram says I meant a Shadows of the Empire remake.
I don't think that's not in the cards. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it sounds like there's at least a possibility, which I never would have thought.
and let's also remember the other thing that wasn't even mentioned at Celebration, was mentioned yesterday. Quantic Dream announced that Star Wars Eclipse will be at Star Wars Celebration 2027.
No, that ended up being a fake story. The GameSpot got from a fake.
GameSpot got that wrong
from a fake Twitter account. GameSpot. Here's the thing. I watch everything. I see everything that's going on with all these publications. If they change their headline style, I know it. I know everything these people are doing. And GameSpot lately, they have a new news editor. I can tell. One, because they're using SIFTD a lot of the times to to collect the news. And they're even like repeating some of the blurbs that we write and like kind of mixing them up a little. I don't know, maybe it's an AI. I don't even have to know.
That is possible.
It is possible. And they're scraping us. We have a problem actually with AI scraping SIFTD. And we've had to set up Cloudflare blocks to stop AI from coming and scraping our website, because it brings our website to a crawl. When they start crawling the AI, our website runs like crap. And so we had to set up like these safety parameters for our website to keep AI from coming and trying to crawl and taking the information from SIFTD. So they could be, but the bottom line is that like GameSpot has a new news editor, or it's using AI to do its news. That change happened about 6 weeks ago or something like that. And this may be one of the results. So yeah, it was a fake story that GameSpot ran, and it wasn't even April Fool's Day.
But it was so believable.
Right, so because it's Quantic Dream. Yeah, like, okay, I can totally see that.
And that game hasn't, I mean, that was, what, 3.5 years ago?
Yeah.
And they haven't said another thing about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that game is real because I know people who have been, or are in Lucasfilm who are like, no, we've had to do stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, we curated that. We had it on SIFTD, but it's like, I can't go and fact check every single story that we curate. Well, I have to count on the outlets doing their due diligence and fact checking stuff.
I mean, there's no reason not to trust that
GameSpot,
outlet.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, that's what happened. That was a fake story. Yep.
So even, I mean, I totally believe that game is not going to be ready until 2029.
It was believable.
Yeah.
That's how the best fake news is the believable news.
Yeah.
Seriously. So anyway, I mean, my guess is that it probably is not going to sell very well, and we'll probably never get a sequel to this game. But like you, Matt, I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm happy that they're making the game so I can play it. Because the other thing too, like I said, we're not getting enough XCOM. Like that's a genre that I'm not really burned out on yet. I'd like to play it more
Midnight
often.
Suns really killed that.
It really did, but it was a great game too. I mean, that's the last time
because it affected the company.
Right. Yep. That'll do it.
And I can't blame anyone for that because it's like, well, there's no reason you wouldn't think that would be successful. Yeah. And I thought it was really good. Yeah. I think it's one of the best takes on Doctor Strange I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I really like a couple of the characters in that game that I normally don't like in the comics or the movies.
I love when games do that.
Like I don't remember who wrote Midnight Suns, but whoever did cracked the Doctor Strange conundrum because like, oh, that's how you make him who he's supposed to be, but not like a dick and like someone you'd want to actually know. And
the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games do that a lot.
Yeah,
there will be characters in those games where I'm like, I never cared about this character, but I love playing as him in this game.
I like that when that happened. You know, again, that's what the Netflix show did with Punisher, with the John Bernthal Punisher. John Bernthal figured out how to play that character. And I've never cared about that character in anything I've never. I
always just thought he's just a dude.
He is.
He's not even like a superhero. I'm like, why would people care?
He's just a guy with guns.
Yeah.
And who's really. I mean, his main advantage in the main comic universe is he does shit that no one else is willing to do.
Right.
And no one else would ever guess someone would do.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, Frank did this. Oh, I can't believe Frank did that. I wasn't ready for that. It's like that's basically his advantage there.
Yeah. The element of surprise. So anyway. There you go. That is Star Wars Zero Company. It's coming in 2026 to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. And my guess is they will tack on a Switch 2 version here once the Switch 2 launches and they can announce it. So we'll see. But again, still ways to wait before we'll get a chance to play it. Okay. Before we move on with the show, it's time to hear a word from our sponsor, the awesome LS to the Cream. LS Cream is a fine cream liqueur created by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. It's inspired by an ancestral recipe from Haiti called Cray Mass, and a double gold winner for its original taste at the New York Wine and Spirit International Competition. LS Cream can be enjoyed on the rocks or as a mixer for drinks with its rich blend of fresh cream and neutral grain spirits with notes of coconut, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. It's great in coffee or to make espresso martinis. To learn more, discover amazing drink recipes, or to track down your own bottle using a handy store locator, head to creamls.com/sifted. That's creamls.com/sifted. As I've said for the last several weeks, LS Cream needs your help now more than ever. They are really getting beat up with all this tariff nonsense. I mean, there are just one of just thousands of companies that could be shut down for good because of these tariffs. Literally thousands of companies. I saw today that a board game company is suing the Trump administration.
Yeah, Stonemaier Games.
Because it literally is going to end their company.
Yeah, and they're a big one. They did Wingspan and a bunch of breakout games that like Stonemaier Games are some of the games that made what would have been considered niche board game stuff start to be carried in like Target and Walmart.
Yeah,
like those are the games you'll see on the shelves there. And the guy who runs that company is one of the most respected, level-headed dudes in the industry. Puts out videos every week. He puts out a video called "My Favorite Thing," and so he's always him highlighting another company's game and saying, "This is what I love about this game that it does, and we try to do this in ours, but this is one of the he's just all about the hobby and the medium and trying
lifting
to lift it all up, and everybody's team. It's really cool, and like the fact that he's the one spearheading this gives it a ton of credibility, even with the weird chuds you run into sometimes. There aren't too many in that hobby, but this has brought some. I mean, so many groups I'm in now that have never talked about politics before all of a sudden have to talk about politics because
their favorite thing
the
could
tariffs
go away.
Transformers, board games, anything.
It's all affected.
And it's just like you run into people that just don't understand how anything works, and you're like, that's not what's gonna happen. Eventually, this guy doing this to some degree has struck brain with some of these idiots because they're like, oh, well, I thought
he's a good guy.
This guy's a good dude. He's really smart. I thought it was like, if he's doing it, I guess there must be something. And it's like, so, okay, there's something.
Bird brain.
But, yeah.
What the hell? How can you not
Do you
know?
have a card in Wingspan? Because it's all birds, But it's, so yeah, we'll see. And other companies will probably sign on to it and stuff. It's going to be an interesting journey. Because even if you win, how do you enforce it, really? But
I mean, the same thing is happening to LS Cream and tons of Canadian companies right now. Go to creamls.com/sifted. Cream.com/sifted and Cremass Deadass. Use the website to find a bottle locally or bottles locally, plural, or figure out how to order it and get it sent to your doorstep. Get yourself some LS Cream. A lot of small companies right now are going through the same thing that they're going through. Help them fight back. Help them survive through this, because I think we all know that eventually this stuff is all going to go away because it has to. But a lot of companies are going to die in the process.
And even after it, quote unquote, goes away, how do you trust again?
Right. Yeah.
Like that's, it's
well, the bottom line is the tariffs just need to come down, because LS Cream will be able to sell its liquor to America again at a decent price, where they're not losing money selling a bottle of liquor like they are right now, basically. So, again, go to creamls.com/sifted. Help them fight back against these insane tariffs.
Especially if you're in Canada.
Right. I mean, they're the worst. It's just insane what we're doing. They're our best buds. It's just crazy what's happening.
Canadians buy some LS Cream.
Right.
There's no tariffs for you to buy some LS Cream.
Yeah, like our Canadian sifters, you guys should be buying that stuff by the box full, because there's no tariffs on it, and obviously any revenue makes a big difference for them. I don't even know if it's in Europe, actually, LS Cream.
I bet it will be soon.
It might. I mean, it's going to have to be. If you want to survive, you're going to have to look to new territories where you're not getting gouged by the other government. So, any way you can help LS Cream, we'd really appreciate it. Even if it's just going to their website and just checking it out, maybe buying some merch or something like that. Every little bit helps. Go to creamls.com/sifted. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about Mario Kart World. There was a Nintendo Direct for Mario Kart World, which was interesting because they had just blown it out with the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. They waited 2 weeks, and they're like, hey, we have a bunch of other stuff we haven't shared about the game. So people were kind of excited about this Nintendo Direct because they were like, wow, we still don't know everything about Mario Kart World. Even after the Treehouse played it for 2 days straight for like 16 hours, there's still more to know. And as it turns out, there was more to know, but there wasn't like a big gigantic thing that kind of people were hoping for. But there was a lot of new information released in this Direct, and I'm just going to run through it very quickly, sort of just the new stuff that was announced, not things that we've already talked about in prior episodes of GameFace. First of all, you guys already know that the whole game is built on an interconnected open world where you can literally drive anywhere you want to. You can drive across cities, across plains, a desert, and even the ocean. One thing that's cool about this, I don't know a lot of people have realized, Matt, is that this is the next Wave Race game as well. The wave technology from Wave Race is now in Mario Kart World. And there are races where you are just on the water on some kind of a weird like hovercraft thing. And it basically is Wave Race wrapped up into Mario Kart as well. Personally, I would prefer a standalone Wave Race game. But if this is as good as it's going to get for now, I'll take it. But out in the open world, there's dynamic weather conditions. There's a day-night cycle. I mean, it's an open world just like there would be in an action RPG, except you're basically racing around it. As far as some of the... And there you can see it right there. I mean, that is insane.
I mean, it's Mario Kart Horizon.
Yeah, it really is. It's like Forza Horizon Kart or whatever.
I guess it's actually a little more crude, too, because you can fly.
Right. And go into the ocean as well.
Water.
Yeah. And so some of the things...
This one will probably do a little better than the crew, too.
Probably so. I would argue it's probably going to sell way better. So some of the new stuff that they talked about in this Direct, there's a new ability called the Charge Jump. And you know, in past Mario Kart games, the top right shoulder button would let you hop into a power slide and jump over some stuff. In this, if you hold the right shoulder button, it powers it up and you do a much bigger jump. And that's what gets you into the wall rides, into the grinds, or you can just jump over opponents if you want to, or jump over blocks or power-ups. It adds a whole different element to the gameplay. But really, you just hold in that shoulder button and release it, and it charges it up, and you do that bigger jump. And that's how you can go over cars, you can jump up onto the rails, onto the wires using it. It's kind of the mechanic that opens up all the other new stuff that's in Mario Kart World. So it's going to be an important mechanic to master. Watching some of these clips, this game is insane, man. It really feels...
It reminds me of Beetle Adventure Racing a little bit, with just the shortcuts everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you got to really look and know where everything is.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, with Mario Kart, usually it's like you have 30 tracks in a new release. Maybe 3 or 4 of them have, like, hidden shortcuts, like one that you have to find. I don't even know how you go about figuring out the fastest lines through these tracks, because there's just so many different options on how you race them.
I feel like that's part of the point or part of what they were aiming for is like a way to short circuit the idea of people just like mastering these tracks, with these glitches and stuff. I feel like there's just going to be the same. It's going to be the same. Like it'll be
people will still find glitches.
It'll be easier to glitch through weird shit because of the open world, because those are much harder to control. My question is, how are they going to add new tracks to this?
I don't know. They haven't talked about it yet. I'm guessing they're just going to open up new parts of the open world and
just expand
slap them down. That'd be my guess. So we're seeing free roam, which has turned out to be way more robust and cool than I thought it was going to be. So the game's courses, as we've talked about, they're interspersed across the entire world, but there's roads that lead from one to the next. So those are tracks as well. And we'll get to the Grand Prix in a second, but the Grand Prix uses those tracks that are in between tracks as part of the Grand Prix. In free roam mode, you can go wherever the hell you want at your own pace, and there's actually stuff to do. So you just saw the P switch there. If you hit the P switch, that unlocks missions inside the open world. Nintendo said there's like 200 or something like that in the open world at launch, and of course they'll probably add DLC and stuff like that. There's also coins to collect out in the open world. All this stuff unlocks more cosmetics, more costumes for your riders, new carts, things like that. So there's incentive to do that. So out in the open world, if you're a completionist, you like to collect stuff, you're going to want to go find those coins. There's missions to complete, and as you can see right here, there's a photo mode as well that you can stop at any time you want and take screenshots from the game. They finally showed off the battle mode in this direct, and I will say this, it doesn't look like there's any new like twists on it or anything. There's the typical balloon battle where you have 3 balloons, and when all 3 of your balloons are popped, you're out. There's also a coin collection mode kind of tucked into the battle mode called Coin Runners. But that's pretty much it for the battle modes. That's one thing I was a little bit disappointed in, is that they haven't kind of found a new twist or a new angle on that.
If it ain't broke.
What'd you say?
If it ain't broke.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they just give me Battle Fort, that's all I need. I literally have played Battle Fort, that map, thousands of times. It never got sick of it. It's the eternal balloon battle map. So hopefully that'll be in there. We'll see. I haven't seen anything in any of the B-roll that's shown that off yet. Grand Prix, as I mentioned, it's not just about the tracks at that location. You actually race between locations, and that counts as one of the races in the Grand Prix. So they do use the open world in the Grand Prix. It's not just pre-canned tracks like maybe they have been in the past. One of the examples that Nintendo sent me in PR says, in the Mushroom Cup, for example, you'll start off racing the Mario Brothers circuit, then the second race will have you covering the distance from Mario Brothers circuit to Crown City. And then the third race is actually Crown City. So they're kind of throwing the Grand Prix mode into a blender as well. And then the final thing that they showed that was new is some Knockout Tour stuff. So we've talked about the Knockout Tour mode for a while now. It's basically you race, and the last 4 people in every race get knocked out. It's kind of like a Battle Royale Mario Kart mode where only the top however many last for the next race until there's just 4 left for the last race. Well, there's some things that they shared about that. There's going to be like Bullet Bills and Hammer Brother attacks just kind of coming at you from the side of the map, which, okay. And then they said that other obstacles will find their way into the mode as well. So basically they're mixing up the tracks by adding extra hazards to them for the Knockout Tour mode, which is good because, to your point, Matt, after you play Mario Kart for a while, you start to learn the tracks inside and out, and you pretty much know every turn, every little shortcut. So if they're throwing in extra obstacles and new stuff into that mode, I'm all for it. So, and that's pretty much it for the Mario Kart Direct. I think this is probably the last preview we're going to get from Nintendo about this game until it launches on June 5th with Nintendo Switch 2. How are you feeling about Mario Kart World at this point, Matt, now that we pretty much know everything about it?
I mean, it's probably the most interesting Mario Kart since the N64.
Yeah.
I'm still not thrilled about $80.
Yeah.
But there's a lot here. The open world stuff is interesting, like doing all the like open world like puzzle solving stuff is more interesting to me than the actual Mario Karting.
I think for a lot of people it will be, actually. Particularly for people who've kind of fallen off with Mario Kart like you have over the last couple entries or whatever. I mean, I often wondered if they would ever make another Mario Kart because they just spent so much time on Mario Kart 8, and in the end, what did it have, like 60 or 70 tracks or something
crazy,
ridiculous? Yeah. So I was just like, man, maybe this is just a platform now, but no. I think this will probably be the platform.
Yeah, the only thing left to do was basically to make a planet.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now you got it. And you're right. It will be interesting to see how they do add stuff to this game.
I mean, I guess they can just expand the map or add underground stuff or island stuff. Or
just plop stuff down in the middle of the ocean.
But because of the nature of the game, it's like, well, anything you add has to be traversable to the new place.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Like,
I wonder how big this map is in comparison to like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, as far as just virtual
I'm more
mileage.
interested in how big it would be compared to like a Forza Horizon.
Right. Oh yeah, that's a better comparison.
Because you're not driving a car in Tears of the Kingdom, so I'm going to guess it's far bigger.
It's pretty crazy to look at this map and just focus on one of the tracks.
Yeah.
And see how little the track is in the context of the whole map.
Or just also look at and like realize where you were watching different shots in the
B-roll. From the trailers and everything.
Like, there's that bridge and there's this thing and there's that, It's a neat idea. Like they've it's definitely different than you wouldn't think they had a lot of new tricks up the sleeve for this series because it's been around for so long. But this definitely changes things up in a way that makes it more interesting.
I mean, just this shot right here, where you have this launcher, and then you're just like, oh, I'm tired of this track. I'm going to go over to this other track. Like, it really does feel a lot more freeform than Mario Kart has been in the past. And honestly, if you're going to make this the launch game for a new Nintendo piece of hardware, it better be.
Yeah, especially because, it can't be something like, the previous games that back in the day when it was like, well, if you don't know how to snake, you're not going to be competitive.
Don't bother playing online if you can't snake. Yeah, that was the worst, man. Like, I didn't learn how to snake on principle. I was just like, I'm not going to do it, man. I'm not going to be the one. And I would try to beat the snakers playing legit, and you couldn't.
No.
There's no way to do it. And so I just quit playing. Instead of learning to snake, I just quit playing it online.
Yeah. I wonder what the equivalent of snake will be on this.
Right. What will be the technique?
Be something.
Well, I mean, it opens up so many things when you can jump and grind and wall ride. Like, they'll find some glitch where, like, the minute you come off a wall, hit some button, and they'll do a flip, and they'll gain a speed boost.
Constantly bounce on the wall and go faster than anyone could ever go.
There'll be something like that, I guarantee it. But that's kind of half the fun, I think, of Mario Kart, as long as they eventually patch it out and fix it. I mean, it is kind of fun kind of discovering that stuff and figuring it out.
Yeah, Mario Kart in the online era has kind of been a war between Nintendo and the people trying to figure out how to break the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, snaking was one of the big ones, for sure. Yeah. Let's go to you guys and see what y'all are thinking about the new Mario Kart. Obviously, you guys have expressed your displeasure about the $80. Retro Modern Gamer says, I think they will add new states to the country island for new tracks. So you're thinking that they'll add big chunks of new tracks.
I mean, you could. Clearly, each area is a discrete chunk in the map. You could just expand the map further.
98 tracks.
98 tracks in Mario Kart 8. 96
tracks. Wow.
Vincent says they could make new islands or put new stuff in the sky or underground. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's less satisfying if there's sort of just a magic jump to where the new thing is. I think that kind of the cool thing is that you can traverse between them all naturally. It'd be cooler to add them as extensions to the actual continent, basically.
Retro Modern Gamer says they said Rainbow Road is in the game, which of course it's in every Mario Kart. It's so funny, like I didn't curate those stories. It's just like, yeah, no shit. Like it's in every Mario Kart. But every outlet was like, oh my god, Rainbow Road in Mario Kart. It's like, hello? Like of course it is.
You know what else is in Mario Kart? Mario.
Yeah. Seriously, it's about that stupid of a statement.
Did you know there's mushrooms?
Exactly. Yeah. And carts.
Yeah. And the world.
But Retro brings up a good question, though. How do you get to Rainbow Road from the open world?
You drive through enough mushrooms, and you just end up there.
You'd be surprised what happens if you get enough mushrooms. Yeah. That's probably what will happen, though. There'll be some like crazy portal that you drive through, and it'll go psychedelic, and you'll just shoot into space or whatever.
Yeah,
that'd be my guess. Erebus says it looks fun, but I can't get past the €80 price. I get it. Imagine if they connect Hyrule. Well, they'll never do that controller's end because that's a whole other universe.
I mean, they could.
They could.
Link's been in it.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
I mean, they could expand this game for eternity.
Yeah, you put Brinstar in this thing, and you got my money. How about that?
I mean, all the Kirby. I mean, you could just go on and on. Like,
yeah. How about Samus gets to be a racer, except she's just the ball.
Yeah. I mean, so far it feels like they have kept Mario Kart in the Mushroom Kingdom, though.
Yeah, they have.
Like they haven't strayed, but they could with this. I mean, it's called Mario Kart World.
Yeah, there have been outside characters that have been in it, as I recall.
Yeah, as drivers, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've never had like tracks that are set like...
I don't think so.
Not that I remember anyway. Although when there's 96 tracks,
Yeah, but
it's hard to keep track of them all.
Maybe it's time.
Seriously. It may not be a bad idea.
I mean, that's an easier way to just build another continent themed on something else.
Vincent says there are tracks for Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon.
All right.
Okay. And F-Zero and Excite Bike. I don't remember those. Do you?
I mean, I didn't play Mario Kart 9.
I did. I don't
Where I
remember them,
was.
though.
There must have been late editions, I would think. That seems like stuff you do near the end of the life.
Pirate Native says that's how I get to Rainbow Road.
Yeah. The other thing you could do is you could have a whole other map that is real world, like basically New Donk City, and that kind of Earth equivalent that Mario's actually from.
That's true.
And do like you basically really do the crew.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
Like what does Mario's America look like?
Yep. He says they started in the original DLC for the Wii U game. Okay. Thanks, Vincent. So anyway, the sky's the limit, really, for this. So really, they could just totally plop down the whole world from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and just put tracks in there, and then they could just do it for all their properties until, I mean, imagine how big that map would be then. It's crazy to think
Yeah, I
about.
mean, you could really turn this into the Smash Brothers of racing games.
You really could. Yep. Because you can start getting third parties to...
Get a Pikmin track.
Seriously. Yeah. I mean, you can start bringing in, like, Solid Snake and all, and put up tracks for, like, Metal Gear. I mean, again, the sky's the limit.
Shadow Moses Island.
Yeah, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. So we'll see. I think in the end, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, Mario Kart World was worth $80, but we'll see. It looks pretty freaking awesome.
If you're into it and it works well, like you're going to be playing it for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I certainly know a couple of parents who are just like, he's like $80 isn't even a question.
Oh, because their kids...
It's like, we're going to play this for years.
Cheapest babysitter you ever had.
Yeah, basically, one of them is like, we're going to play this until they leave for college.
Yeah.
Like, it's $80 is nothing for that.
It's kind of true, yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's the latest and probably the last word on Mario Kart World until it is released alongside Switch on June 5th. Okay, we're going to move on next to a game that has become like the hot thing this week. And so I decided to check it out for you guys to see if it is worthy of being the hot thing from this week. And it is a soccer game called Rematch. And Matt, the most unlikely people have made this game. It is developed by the team that made Sifu, the extremely challenging Kung Fu game.
It's not completely out of left field, considering the need for a proper collision physics and inverse kinematics engine.
Yeah, that's true. And the art style's kind of the same.
Yeah, I can definitely see the Sifu in this.
Yeah, you can see it. So this is an arcade-style soccer game. It's not a simulation like FIFA or EA Sports FC as it's called now. It is, you can play as either 5-on-5 or 4v4. And while it is arcade-style, it's not like Mario Strikers, where players are jumping 40 feet off the pitch and doing 8 backflips before they knock the ball in. Most of the stuff that you see in this game could probably be done in real life.
It seems more like an NBA Jam.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not completely insane outside of maybe a couple of the dunks.
Some of the jumps are a little higher than a human could really accomplish.
But it's like more or less you are just playing a simplified version of the game that feels more accurate than maybe it deserves to.
Yep. So this game costs $30, but honestly, as you play it, it feels like a free-to-play game because it's all driven by cosmetics. There's you can see right here, the store. There's in-game currency that you earn as you play.
Doesn't seem to be really a way to make a character that doesn't look really tired.
No. Yeah, the character creation tool in this
more sleep, please. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
He just wants to go home.
Yeah, the character creation in this, a little simple, for sure. My guess is that stuff will open up as time goes on, and I wouldn't be surprised if you pay for it. Again, it's kind of structured like a free-to-play game. It's almost like the studio Slow Clap. Or not, is it Slow Clap?
I don't remember.
I think it's Slow Clap. It's almost like the studio hedged its bets a little bit and was like, hey, if we release this $30 soccer game and no one wants to pay for it, we could easily switch this over to a free-to-play game that's supported by cosmetics. I don't know if that's the truth for a fact, but having done this for a long time, that's the vibe I get from this game. The first thing I'll say is it does play a little bit more like a soccer sim as far as playing than an arcade soccer game. Like, most of the moves in this are not like things that a human really couldn't do in real life. So if you're one of those people that really likes soccer or football, as I should probably be calling it, but you don't like games that take liberties with the sport, this might be a good sort of compromise for you between something like a Mario Strikers and an EA Sports FC. Let's see. So, like a lot of people have been comparing this game to Rocket League. As a huge Rocket League player, the only things that make it like Rocket League are that it's on a soccer pitch like Rocket League, and there's a soccer goal the size of a soccer goal, and there's also invisible barriers around the pitch. So it actually plays more like indoor soccer in that you can play passes off the walls, you can slide tackle and knock it off the wall and pass it to your teammate.
I didn't super enjoy playing soccer as a kid, but I loved the 2 times per season we played an indoor soccer week.
Yeah, because you also didn't have to run as far.
Right. They never run it far. You just bounce shit off things. It was more
fun and
angled.
frenetic.
The ball didn't hurt as much if it hit you in the face.
Because it was like a big tennis ball.
Yeah.
This plays more like indoor soccer for sure. However, here's one of my big complaints with this game, is that it plays like indoor soccer, it looks like indoor soccer, but the pitch is almost the size of a real soccer pitch. But instead of having 22 players on the pitch at a time, you only have 10. So there's just a lot of open field in this game where there's just nobody and no thing to do. So I played soccer growing up, and then I played intramural soccer at Temple. And the one thing I noticed after I played soccer for a while on a full pitch was you just do a lot of running back and forth, never touching the ball.
There's a reason why they're all so skinny.
Right. You never touch the ball a lot of times playing soccer. And the same thing happens in this game. Now, I've chopped up this B-roll, obviously, to try to just include the action-packed parts, but probably a good 45 to 50% of your time playing this game is just running back and forth.
Yeah,
doing
one
nothing.
thing I do, I mean, I know there's a point at which you have to kind of simulate the game or not simulate the game, but watching just this B-roll, I'm like, I feel like the field could be about 30% smaller.
Yeah, there's not enough action. They need to.
One of the advantages of Rocket League is how fast things turn back and forth between the teams.
And because here's the other thing is that the cars are really fast.
Yeah.
So while the pitch is about the same size as this for Rocket League, you can get from one end to the other in like a second. In this, it takes 10 seconds to run down the pitch. Now, it feels like they've recognized this and they're trying to like nerf it and fix it a little bit by having extensive sprint options. So the right shoulder button makes you sprint, and the meter is very generous. You literally have enough meter to basically sprint from one end of the pitch to the other. And then if you double tap the sprint button, you get a burst. And that's when like your feet kind of go on fire. And if you do stuff while you're in that burst mode, that's when it kind of goes outside of reality. That's when you can do like the crazy bicycle kicks. You can do crazy dribbles. You can do like power slide, like slide tackles. So like the slide tackle button is context sensitive. If you're just jogging and you hit the slide tackle button, you'll just step in the way and try to intercept the ball. If you hit the tackle button while you're sprinting or in burst mode, that's when you actually do the slide tackles. If you do it while you're in burst mode, you do like a crazy slide tackle that's so powerful it sometimes sends the ball all the way down to the other end of the pitch. So it does feel like the studio is like, yeah, there's a lot of downtime in this, so let's like really kind of impact how fast people can run and how long they can run, but it's not good enough. It's not a strong enough compromise. There's just a ton of downtime in this. And then ironically, the flip side of that is when you do finally get the ball, it feels like you have no time. You'll see in this B-roll, as soon as I get it, there's 5 dudes slide tackling at me, knocking the ball away. You have to immediately pass the ball, if you're playing against good people anyway. My first couple of matches, you can get away with that. Once you start playing against better players who are ranked and have been playing it for a while, as soon as you get the ball, there's 4 people on your ass. And so you have to immediately pass it. And the problem is, you play this game from the perspective of one player the whole time. I should have said that at the outset, actually. That's very important. You can't change players or switch players. You only play as that guy. So you can also only see the pitch from the perspective of that one player. Unlike Rocket League, this game does not have a camera that follows the ball. At least I wasn't able to find it. I searched all the way through the menus looking for it. So I have to manually control the camera with the right analog stick at all times. And the ball sometimes just goes so fast, you just don't even see it.
I love that, like, after every goal, the team that got scored on just kind of comes back and stares at the goal.
With their head down.
Sadly. It's like, oh. So is the goalie a player again?
Yes, yeah. So anybody can be goalie. And playing goalie is an entirely different set of mechanics and gameplay, like control setup. All of it's different. And you can become goalie just by going into the goalie box. Like if you go into the goalie box after the other team scores, when they come back to kick off, you might be the goalie. And that is terrifying, let me just tell you. As somebody who ended up being goalie a couple times and had no idea what to do, they immediately scored on me. So I'm not 100% sure how the goalie stuff works. All I know is after the other team scored, if I was near the goal, sometimes I would become goalie at the kickoff. I'm not 100% sure how that whole system works. But
kind of a profound existential comment, but it's not a very good gameplay mechanic.
It's not, yeah. But honestly, so the way you pass and the way you shoot is your reticle. So see the reticle in the center of the screen there? That's how you pass and shoot. So if somebody passes you the ball and you're looking at them, you need to rotate your player towards the goal, get the reticle on the goal, and then squeeze the right trigger to shoot. And like one-timers, and I just never found a way to do it. I just could never figure out how to quickly accept the ball and then quickly get a ball on target towards the goal. I never figured it out. So I get the ball, clunky, spin around, aim at the goal, shoot. I will say this. The shooting's really accurate, and shooting also context sensitive depending on how fast you're running. So if you want to do a really powered up kind of curved shot, you got to make sure that you're in that burst mode when you do that. But
you were a goalie for a second there.
Right.
Because your hands were glowing.
Right, yeah. So, look, the internet's going crazy over this game. I don't get it. I really don't get it. As a big Rocket League player, I was stoked to play this game. Like, I couldn't wait. I thought it was going to be like, when the ball came to you, it would just automatically do something. Like if it was high, you'd hit it. If it was at chest level, you'd trap it and drop it down to your feet. If the ball came to your feet, you just keep sprinting. Like I thought it would be kind of like automatic and context sensitive depending on where you receive the ball on the body of the player. But no, you do everything manual in this game. To me, other than the obvious cosmetics of it, it's not like Rocket League at all. I didn't feel like I was playing Rocket League. I felt, honestly enough, I felt way more in control of aiming shots and landing shots in Rocket League than I do in this. Again, a lot of it is because I could not find a camera that just followed the ball, and you have to constantly keep adjusting the camera, and then you get the ball, and you got to keep adjusting it to try to pass to somebody or to shoot it accurately into the goal. So I'm not sure why people are so excited about this. The idea sounded awesome, and then I started playing it, and I just didn't really enjoy it all that much, honestly. Again, as a big Rocket League player, as a big sports guy, this game just hasn't clicked with me. So I'm not sure why other people have decided they liked it. I did kind of poke around and watch some impressions that people had of it who were really high on it, and they just didn't even point out a lot of the faults that I found in it. So I don't know. Maybe they just are just like, oh, it's a soccer game, and that's good enough. I don't know.
A soccer game with no fouls. Let's go.
There's no fouls. There's no timeouts. It never stops. So that's one good thing I'll say is that a match lasts. There's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I should have scored right there.
We passed it, though.
Yeah. I'm standing right in front of the goal because my reticle isn't in the goal. So instead of shooting it into the goal, it shot it all the way to the right. And this happened to me.
Is it a different button for pass and shoot?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's on a PlayStation controller, it would be square for pass and then R2 for shoot. But see that?
Well, where was your reticle supposed to be then? Because
in the goal.
It angled like way to the right.
Yeah, because I got the ball, and that's where it was when I got the ball. That's what I'm saying.
Back that up.
Okay.
Or can you?
I can.
Because I don't understand. It looked like your reticle's pointing at the goal.
You can see. There's no reticle there at all.
Well, it's right there.
Oh,
right? It's pointing at the jungle. So why did it shoot? Why did it go all the way to the right like that?
Glitch, maybe. I don't know. Yep. I had problems playing this game. I just didn't feel like I was in control. I felt like I did score a few times. Like I felt like they were luck when I scored. I've seen people score in this game from like past half field, like from like 80 yards away.
What happened at the last attack clip from right before this? Like they like basically the goalie scored. He kicked it all the way down. Like was touched one more time and it rolled right in.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that happens in this. And I mean, one thing I will say, matches do happen fast. There's a quick turnover. You're constantly jumping on new teams. The net code in it is good. The as far as like matching up and finding matches, that happens fast. I mean, this game is only in early access on PC right now. It is eventually coming, as you can see in the upper third there, to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. But right now, it's just in early access on PC. I'm not sure actually how much they're asking. Oh, $30, yeah. And again, I would not be surprised if eventually this game goes free to play. So I had high hopes for it. I was way more excited for it than it actually ended up being. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it actually was. But you can see, like, You have it's just like Rocket League. You can set up your own little nameplate, and that stuff unlocks as you play. Again, it's a lot like a free-to-play game. It has all the same elements, but right now, they're trying to charge $30 for it. I would say probably in 18 months, this will be a free-to-play game. That'd be my guess, but we'll see. But anyway, if you're out on the internet, you probably saw a bunch of this stuff. And we're like, wow, everyone seems to be all over this game. Same thing happened to me. I was like, I'm going to check it out. I did, and ultimately I was pretty disappointed in it. I know we have a lot of European sifters, so I'm interested to kind of get your perspective on this game. Some of you guys may have actually been playing it. Your Retro Modern Gamer, where are all the penalty flags? There are no penalties. None at all. There's no penalties. There's no timeouts. Once the match starts, it never stops until someone scores. And then the other thing you may have noticed is when you score, the map changes. So you may be in a desert map and you score, and then the world does this crazy transformation, and all of a sudden you're in a city with like skyscrapers in the background or whatever, which is kind of clever and cool. Call the replay refs. There's no replays in this. There's no, what do they call it in soccer? VRR or something? There's none of that in this. You can't go to reviews or anything like that because there's no penalties. Why would you review anything? Unless maybe whether the ball crossed the line before the goalie saved it, something like that maybe. Noxator90 says, glad they're having success, great developers. Yeah, I mean, Sifu is definitely sort of one of those underground hits, and I am glad to see small studios like this do well, but I just don't think the game is all that good. PCM are cult. I love football games, and I'm not a fan either. Okay, so even people who maybe like soccer/football aren't into it as well. Controller Zen says there are so many soccer nuts around the world. Think they're just happy to see an alternative to EAFC. That could be. But I think once they play it for a while, they're going to go back to EAFC. Because the other thing, as I said when I first started discussing it, it's not that crazy. It's not like Mario Strikers where it's this crazy far-out arcade-style like insanity. Even NBA Jam, to your point, where they're dunking from like half court or whatever, like it doesn't even go that far. So I don't know if it goes far enough to really be an alternative to FC. I thought it would be, but I don't. Now that I've played it, I don't know if it is. Vincent reminds us that it launches on June 19th, and it will be on Game Pass. I actually did not know that, Vincent. Thank you. Erebus Jones, no real clubs or players is a total deal breaker for a football game for me. Hard pass. Yeah, there's no real anything in this. Like I showed you, you create your own character when you first start playing. Retro Modern Gamer says replay ref was in reference to you and Matt going over why your shot missed. You guys are the replay refs. Gotcha. That one definitely went over my head. So anyway, there you go. That is Rematch. As Vincent just said, it is coming out on June 19th for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. It's also, you may have noticed in the B-roll, it's still glitchy and has like issues. Like the game will just start kind of jittering every once in a while. There's definitely some goals that went in where like the goalie dove and saved it, and it just kind of like glitched and like went through his hands and went into the goal. Like they have some cleaning up to do, and there's only 2 months to go before it comes out, which makes me a little nervous. So anyway, again, the game is called Rematch. I do like when studios do stuff like this, though, where they just go completely out of their comfort zone. Like, I'm sure they like football, they're football fans or whatever, but they've never made a sports game before. So pretty interesting to see a studio like that kind of spread its wings.
They'd never made a martial arts game before.
Touche. That's a good point. So anyway, there you go. That is Rematch. They're going to try to sell it for $30, but my guess is it'll end up being free to play when it's all said and done. We'll see. Next up, a game called Metal Eden. Do you remember this game, Matt?
Nope.
It is a sci-fi first-person shooter that plays a whole hell of a lot like Doom. And I was just talking about how...
A boomer shooter?
It is a boomer shooter, absolutely. But it doesn't look like one. It looks like any generic sci-fi video game you've ever seen before. There's a demo for this available right now. It comes out in like 2 weeks, I think, something like that. And this demo starts without a cinematic. I don't know if the real game's going to start that way, but there's really no cinema explaining what's going on. I had to go and dig through the official websites for this game because no one's really previewed it yet. And all the information that was out there was hard to find, so I dug through the official site for the game to find most of the information around this, other than the stuff that I gleaned by actually playing the game. But it is a sci-fi first-person shooter, very much in the vein of the new Doom games. You may say, why? Well, one, it's very frenetic and very fast-paced, and you're fighting crazy, psychotic, like sci-fi creatures like you do in Doom. But the other part of it, too, is that one of the big combat mechanics in this is a thing where you rip out the cores of enemies, just like you do in the recent Doom games. So you have to hit them a couple times with weapons. They become vulnerable. With the LB button, you can rip the core out of the enemies, and then you can do two things with the core. You can either throw it, and it acts as a grenade and blows stuff up and enemies up, or you can absorb it and get a little health boost, just like the recent Doom game. So it is sort of this similar ballet where, like, sometimes in this game, you'll get to an arena and they'll close the walls down and you have to fight, like, the just rushes and waves of enemies in this very small arena. That's where it starts to get tough and difficult. You have to really manage sort of how you rip the cores and whether you decide to use them as health regen or you decide to use them as a weapon. In the tougher battles, you end up using it almost entirely as health regen.
Returnal action here.
Yeah, this game definitely borrows a lot of stuff from a lot of video games. I think that's probably going to be its downfall.
Well, at least they're getting it out before Doom.
This is the thing, Matt. Why would you release this literally the week before Doom?
Probably because after Doom is worse.
I guess. Or
It's either that or you hold it until the end of the year.
Right. I mean,
but, maybe they can't afford to wait that long.
But, man, you're just sending this game out to die. Like, who's going to buy this unproven property over a brand new Doom that looks awesome, by the way?
I guess someone who would prefer sci-fi. I guess that's the only real difference here.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I'll say this:
if you like cyberpunk, this does at least look good in terms of that, and it's. I think one advantage it maybe has is that it isn't pixel art. It looks pretty good. It looks all right.
It looks great.
It doesn't look like Doom.
No,
but it looks good for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it looks and plays great. The weapons in this feel awesome. The one thing I would say about the weapons, though, as you get further into the game, I mean, I only got to play like 2 missions or whatever, but in the second mission, like, I started getting energy weapons with cooldowns. And the cooldowns on those weapons are way too long.
I was actually going to say the reload animations seemed long.
They are, but, like, you don't even have to go through those when you get the power weapons. You have to wait for it to just recharge so you can use it again. But you're right. The reloads for the more traditional weapons do take a long time. But eventually you get, like, these energy weapons or whatever. You got to wait for the cooldowns. And what I found is that, like, I'd unload my weapon, and I'd spend the next, like, 20 seconds running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to avoid getting hit until my weapon would refill with ammo again.
Yeah, that is not a problem in Doom.
No, definitely not. Like, that's one thing I'll say is, like, the health in this, the reason that they put the health into the ripping part of the game is because you don't really get health from enemies like you do in Doom. So in Doom, you could choose the enemy type. Oh, I need health. I'll attack that enemy because I'll get health when I kill that enemy. In this, that's not really how it works. You do, however, find armor and shields. And, like, when you're in one of those arena battles, like, they'll be, like, respawning. And it does kind of cheapen it a little bit, because as long as you're patient, you'll always get through it, because the armor just keeps respawning.
Well, so that is like Doom. How you kill something determines what you get from them.
A little bit. Well, no, it's like if you rip the core out of them, that's when you decide. What you do with the core is the decision that you make. Either you absorb it for health, or you use it as a grenade, as a weapon. That's what you're deciding between.
Because in Doom, if you kill something, generally you might get health from them. If you kill them with the close-up, you're going to get ammo.
Right, you're right. It is how you kill them that changed. It wasn't the enemy type. You're right. Yeah. In this, it's what you decide to do with the core after you rip it out. And then other enemies have requirements. Like these enemies, you have to break their shield before you can attack them. So the other thing that happens when you absorb one of the cores, instead of using it as a grenade, it gives you health, but it also gives you this super punch ability. And so that adds to the ebb and flow of it. When you're fighting enemies that are armored, that super punch will break their armor. So a lot of times, if you're fighting an enemy like that, first you take on one of the smaller enemies, you rip the core out, absorb the core so you have the punch, then use the punch to break the armor, then pull out the weapon to actually do the damage after you've busted up the armor. So it is very similar to Doom. And I'll say this, I mean, it looks and it plays great. The guns feel great. The audio's awesome. I know you don't care about it, but the force feedback in the controller feels great as far as like lining up. It makes the guns feel like they have oomph and power. But it's just like Doom. And we have another Doom coming out in like 3 weeks. It's just the worst possible time for this game to release. The other thing I would say, too, is that the plot in this is just like so obtuse. Like, there's not a lot of like overt storytelling. Like, see that red thing in the top right that says Nexus? That means that there's a disembodied voice that's talking to you. And that happens throughout the entire game. This voice just comes up in the speakers or in the headphones, and it just starts talking about like the digitized human psyche and the dark pathways of our non...
I mean, I would argue that Doom is very similar to that. The modern Doom is like that.
It is.
In fact, arguably the person who cares the least about the story in the modern Doom games is the Doom guy.
Right. That's a good point. So after I dug around on the official website, I did finally kind of find what the story is about. First of all, this game was initially called Final Form, if you may remember it for that title. But you're playing as an advanced hyper
I don't know if
unit.
this is a better title, but that is also a bad title.
Yep. You are playing as an advanced hyper unit called Aska, and basically she's been sent on a suicide mission to an orbital city. Basically, this AI has laid a trap for Aska, and is trying to trap her there, but when she gets there, it turns out she's an ass kicker, and they can't trap her the way that they wanted her to.
Well, it also looks like she found the corpse of a previous version of herself.
Yeah.
In there. I mean, she's clearly not the only one.
Yeah, she's a digitized human psyche, is what they describe her as. She's designed to save and protect humanity from the captivity of the engineers. And so you go to this planet, and it's run by the engineers. And basically what you're trying to do is to fight to the center of the city where you rescue humanity in some way. And I don't know if humanity means that it's the last 20 humans left. I don't know if it's like a disc or like a little file or something that has I don't know. But having played a couple hours of this game, it could be something that's stupid, where it's literally just like a microchip that's, quote, called humanity or something like that. And that's like the basic setup. There's not like a lot of overt cinematics. As you can see, traversal is really important in this. You have a double jump with a hover, so you can really, really jump long distances in this game. Like a lot of times, you'll come to like a cliff face, and you're like, there's no way I can make it to that platform. And you start looking around trying to find another platform, won't find one, and you're like, oh, I guess I do have to try to make. And then you do it, and you actually make it. Like you can jump way farther than you think you can in this. And then there's lots of wall running and wall jumping, and you can mix it all in with combat. Again, it's a pretty damn good game. But it's like, when it comes down to it, how do we recommend this over Doom the Dark Ages?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it matters.
No?
I don't think this game would have really done anything even if Doom wasn't coming out.
Really?
Yeah. People don't care that much about Cyberpunk stuff for the most part, unless it's actually called Cyberpunk 2077.
That's funny.
It's very under the radar. The title's terrible. I think actually coming out near Doom is maybe more advantageous because you get something to blame it on.
No. You can say, well, Doom came out a week later. What are we going to do?
I mean, by Doom.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a cop out there. If you're the developer, you're like, public, what are you doing? Like, why would you put this out a week before Doom? Like, obviously, our game is inspired by Doom. Different setting, and it's sci-fi. I don't know what you call Doom. Supernatural, I guess?
Yeah, Doom is fantasy.
Fantasy,
Doom is
supernatural.
Sci-fantasy, something like that. I mean, I'd say less... It has become more that. I mean, you're dealing with demons and hell, so it's like kind of sci-fi, but like with a fantasy twist. So I would say the new one is more fantasy than sci-fi.
Yeah, definitely.
Outside of
it's definitely angling that direction for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Because it's becoming very clear that in the modern Doom continuity, which does tie into the old one, I guess, but like the modern Doom Slayer he seems to be some kind of magical being.
Mm-hmm. No, he's supernatural for sure.
Something. He's not a regular person.
He's not just some dude. There's no doubt about that.
Like there was definitely an element in the original Doom era where you're like, oh, it's just like some really. I mean, in the original Doom era, he was basically a regular space marine who was really mad that the demons killed his bunny.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
That was literally what happened.
You're right.
They killed his pet rabbit, and he decided to murder. It was John Wick before John Wick.
Yeah.
And fair. Me too. Same, dude. Rip and tear until it is done for Fluffy.
Yeah. Like all there's not a lot of talking in this game, but the words that are said feel like they came from like a goth AI. They're just like talking about dark despair and crap like that. It's like the Sisters of Mercy made a video game.
It's cyberpunk. It's what everything is.
Yeah. And then eventually you do get body modules that upgrade her core abilities. They also will increase the effectiveness of the core ripping. So like when you decide to absorb a core, you'll get more health back and stuff like that. There's different upgrades available through the body modules. There's a core power path which focuses on explosive energy and high damage attacks. There's bodysuit upgrades that enhance mobility and defense and slows time for your attacks. It goes into like bullet time. There's also core ripping enhancements. It will boost the efficiency of the core ripping. It lets her extract more power from her enemies. And then there are combos. So the crazy thing is you can choose the upgrades that you want, and they create combos. So for example, if you equip the high damage Iron Fist with the if you combine high damage with Iron Fist, it creates a double punch. If you combine agility and precision, it gives you a combat focus mode. If you combine core ripping with a magnetic field, it gives you a core eruption. So that's actually one part of this game that's kind of unique, how they do the skill tree in this, where if you choose 2 skills that pair together, it will give you kind of a third bonus skill, which is kind of cool and something maybe that other games could sort of borrow from. But otherwise, it is really a Doom clone. It is extremely fast-paced. While you can't fly, you can double jump and hover like I talked about earlier. There's wall running. There's dashing. You saw earlier there's zipline segments in the game. This is all like Westworld stuff here. This game just literally...
It's also a little bit marathon.
Yeah. It takes like little pieces from so many different things.
I actually can see... I mean, there's a little bit of Ghost in the Shell here, but I think they're taking from Aeon Flux as well.
As well. Yeah, I mean, it just borrows
She wasn't a robot, but
right.
she, the idea that like the operative gets killed and they just pop another one exactly like
right.
her out to try it again, like that was Aeon Flux.
Yep. So again, it feels real good to play. The guns feel awesome.
She even kind of looks like StarCraft Ghost.
She does.
Like there's like not. It doesn't feel like there's like a lot actually cliche. Like it doesn't feel like it's all stolen from shit. But there is sort of like a lot of influences on the sleeve here.
The funny thing
and
is,
chat did say that this is the same developer that made Ruiner.
Oh really?
What's his name? Rutger Hauer.
Oh right.
Cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
So clearly this is their genre.
The funny part about this scene is it lasts for another 5 minutes. Yeah. I cut it out. It just goes on forever, showing these pans of her in her suit with like these cybernetic things. Like they definitely are a little bit.
They're in love with the setting.
They are.
That's clearly
definitely.
I mean, there's that Ruiner did that too. There was a lot of like.
I never played Ruiner.
Yeah, you did.
What? Wait, what was it?
You reviewed it.
What was it?
It was like an adventure game it starred Rutger Hauer as like a old, almost androidy guy.
Ruiner.
It was like an adventure game.
I don't remember it for some reason.
It was Rutger Hauer. Like one of Rutger Hauer's like maybe his last performance or something. It was right before he died.
I don't remember that game for some reason.
No, because I didn't play that till much later. You were the only one who played it, so you definitely did the review.
I don't even remember the game.
That's the only reason I remember it. Is because like later I was like, oh, I should try that, and it was like $9 one time when I played. It was pretty good.
Interesting.
But no, that was like 2 years after it came out. You were the one who played that.
I don't even remember it.
I mean, it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But it just shows you how much I've forgotten about video games.
It was actually in the first studio, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that was like 2015, 2016, 2017. Okay. But again,
Oh no, Ruiner is different. Okay, I'm thinking of Observer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Observer.
Yeah, Ruiner is red. Observer is blue-green. Ruiner is red. J.J. Force says.
That's hilarious.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't remember Ruiner at all. And
I vaguely remember Ruiner now that he says it's red, but I can't really tell you what it is.
Yep. But look, this game looks great. It runs great. It plays well. The combat feels good. The traversal feels good. The enemy animation is great. I will say this, based upon what I played, the enemies repeat way too often. I don't know if you get later on into the game if that's fixed, if there's more enemy types. But the enemies do get repetitive, but it's a great playing, great looking game that's probably going to deserve way better than it ends up getting. Like, this game is just going to get lost in the shuffle. And
Vincent says it's been delayed.
Oh, they delayed it?
To summer.
Oh. Well, it was supposed to come out, in like May 8th, yeah. So maybe they came to their senses and were like, let's give ourselves at least like a couple months between us and Doom. It'll help the game. Absolutely, it will help the game.
I don't think anything would help this game.
Yeah.
It actually looks good. I'm kind of interested in playing it, but I think it would be ignored.
Yeah.
No, whatever you do.
I mean, while I was playing this, Matt, something that occurred to me is that we've gotten to the point where incredible games are being completely dismissed and lost. I mean, 5 years ago, this game would have been like a AAA game we were all over. We'd be covering the crap out of it. Yeah. And now it just blends in with like everything else.
Well, I don't think even covering the crap out of anything would matter. Like, the way people find games now is different. It's just like, if you're not paying for influencers to boost your game before it comes out, no one's even going to hear about it. I wouldn't have heard about this if I wasn't doing this show.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I just think
it's very hard to penetrate. There's so much noise now, and
well,
it does look a little generic if you just see like a shot of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't once you see it moving.
The general quality level has just become so high in game development at this point that like even games that look and play great just get lost in the shuffle now. And that's just not the way it used to be. So it's a shame probably what's going to happen to this game, because you can see the people who are working on it are very talented, and it looks and it plays great, but the timing's bad, and they probably don't have a ton of money for marketing, and so they're going to have to rely on word of mouth.
Cyberpunk is not really it's weird because like sometimes it hits and it hits big, like with Cyberpunk 2077, and like sometimes it's just like a lot of times people just seem like they ignore a Cyberpunk setting for reasons that don't actually make any, not that they don't make any sense, but it's just like I can never tell when a Cyberpunk thing is going to hit big and when people are just going to pretend like it didn't happen.
Right. Yep.
And it seems like a very risky setting.
I feel like if
for
you
anything,
don't,
I don't just mean video games.
No, you're right.
I mean everything.
I agree. Like, I think if you just don't have the money to market, to give influencers a big check to play it, like, it's just going to get lost.
Yeah, like Cyberpunk movies are infamous for failing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, The Matrix
They really are
one of the very few.
It's an exception. Yep, for sure. So anyway, this game is called Metal Eden. It is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. It was supposed to come out May 8th, but Vincent has informed us that it actually has now just been delayed. There's a demo out there right now. I think it's on every platform that it's coming to. So if you want to give it a go yourself, it's a couple hours long. So they give you a pretty good chance to give it a go.
I see you're doing the circuit around the room waiting for your energy weapon to recharge.
Yeah. And then there's also a piece
that burns out real fast.
Yep. And there's a piece of armor that keeps respawning in the center of the room. So if I go on this blue pad, it shoots me right through the armor, and I can just keep recollecting the armor. So you can see in the bottom left there, you have an armor and a health meter. And so I just keep going. See right there, the armor. You can just keep grabbing the armor, so it just becomes a means to an end. And this is the way all the arena battles are in this game. There's always a respawning armor piece that you can just keep grabbing over and over again. But you even notice how long the cooldowns last on the energy weapons in this game. That's something they can definitely tweak for its release.
The cooldown doesn't seem like unreasonably long for a certain kind of weapon, but like the cooldown seems to last longer than it takes to fire it.
Oh yeah,
which is sort of a problem.
One burst and it's done, and then it takes like 15 seconds for it to.
I think it should never take longer to reload a gun in a game than it takes to shoot
a clip.
All of it.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. So anyway.
And it feels like it should be doing more damage if it's going to burn that fast.
Yeah, those battles is you're just chipping the whole dang time.
It should be high. If you're going to high risk, high reward with how fast you burn it, you should get rewarded if you hit with the whole thing. My
only real complaint was I never really came to grips with the gameplay wise. I never really came to grips with the dash. I could never get it to work the way I wanted to. I would try to use it. I still get hit all the time. But again, because there's so much armor there, and you have the whole refill the health with ripping the cores thing. It's not that difficult a game. If you're patient, you'll never die. I do get impatient, so I die. That happens to me in all games. But anyway, that's Metal Eden. It sounds like it's coming out this summer now. It is coming to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. And S, I guess. Okay, let's move along.
J.J. Forsberger does make a good point that like they've talked about how Dark Ages is going to be more of a stand your ground game, not a traversal
that's
game.
Their pitch line, yeah, stand your ground.
So this is kind of like a little more Titanfall.
That's a good point. It actually is kind of like the older Dooms instead of the new one. So if people play the new Doom, they're like, what happened to the other ones? I like those better. Here you go. We're really grasping at straws here, people.
Yeah, I think the main problem is it's a bad title with a setting that doesn't tend to catch.
Yeah. I mean, you watch a trailer for it or just watch that B-roll, it could be one of like 85 different games. Like, it really just blends in, unfortunately. And that's just the truth. Like, games are looking so good and playing so good now, they're all just starting to blur together.
If I just saw a little clip of that, I might not know it's not Ghost Runner.
Right.
Or something like that.
And that's the other thing I would say, too, is that is probably, other than Doom, the other closest analog is Ghost Runner. It's not as hard as Ghost Runner, where it's like one hit, you die. But the ebb and flow of it, like wall running, doing crazy long jumps, landing, fighting, killing everything, more wall running, more killing. It's very much like that. Also, obviously, the cyberpunk setting is similar. So that's another great analog, good comparison. But anyway, there you go. That is Metal Eden. Next up, we're going to talk about another game that caught my eye and other people's and it kind of become a thing, and I wanted to check it out. It is a game called Drive Rally. It is a cel-shaded rally racing game. It really, I've never seen a racing game.
I remember seeing stuff for this.
Yeah.
This was in like some Microsoft when they would do a shotgun blast. It was just, here's trailers for 5,000 things you don't know about, won't remember.
We also talked about it.
This.
We talked about it one time on the show too. Like I have a trailer loaded in the TriCaster, which is always a sign that we've discussed something in the past.
Yeah. Very memorable conversation. Clearly.
Yeah. But this is a cel-shaded rally racing game that reminds me a lot of an old franchise I know Matt remembers called Sega Rally Championship. It was from the 80s and 90s in the arcades. Was it ever on Genesis?
It was on Dreamcast.
Was it on Dreamcast?
Yeah.
Or was that Rally Sport Challenge?
No, Sega Rally was on Dreamcast.
Okay.
100%.
But this reminds me a lot of that franchise. It's an arcade...
It got ruined by Rally Sport
Right.
Challenge, which was a better game.
Yeah.
But Sega Rally Championship was definitely a Dreamcast.
Okay. I wasn't 100% sure about that.
There was also a Saturn game, but nobody
remembers that.
No one knows.
This is an arcade-style racing game, but I'll say this. It's deceptive. It looks like it's all cartoony and arcadey, but the handling in this actually feels really freaking good and realistic. The one thing I will say, Matt, about force feedback, where it actually does help with games, is racing games. Because if they're good with it, it lets you know when the tires are starting to break free and when you need to let off of the analog stick and stop pushing like the turn as much. This game does that really well. A lot like Forza Horizon and a lot of other ones. But probably the first thing you're going to notice about this game is the LOD. The draw-in in this is so bad. Like, literally, you see stuff drawing in like 50 feet in front of you. All the shadows are constantly drawing in. All the trackside objects are always drawing in. This also, by the way, is a 1.0. So this game is technically done and on sale at this point. It does not play like a 1.0 game. It feels like it's still not quite finished, unfortunately. But this is kind of in the middle. It looks like an arcade racing game. I think the art style kind of forces you to think that, but it handles pretty realistically. You can tell the difference, too, when you get on tarmac versus when you're on sand. Basically, how the tracks work is there's 4 different biomes. There's like this desert, which is the United States. There's like a rainforest. There's a snow biome. And the 4th one is a jungle, I think. No, I already shared that one. But anyway, there's like 4 biomes. And then inside each one of those is 12 tracks. So there's a total of 48 tracks, but those 12 tracks all look basically identical. They're just basically drawing a different outline for you to race on through the same area that you raced on the prior 11 times. And so it does get a little bit redundant. The championship mode is the main mode in this game. And basically how it works is you start at kind of the beginning of rally. So your first car is like the first ever rally car. And then every race, you get like a new part that you can add to your car. And then by the 3rd race with the same car, you get a new car. So you only race with each car for like 3 races before you get another one. And that's how the whole thing progresses. 3 races at a time, each car 3 races. As long as you're finishing first or near first and you're winning in the championship points ranking, you just keep moving on. And you add 2 parts to your car, then you get a new car. Add 2 parts to that car, then you get a new car. And the cars do run the gamut. Like you will race like Ford Broncos, panel trucks, more traditional rally cars like this one. Like I feel like they did a pretty good job, if you're a fan of rally, of kind of going through all the different eras of the sport and giving you tracks and vehicles that represent that. Now again, this is not a simulation. If you're a hardcore rally fan, although I would say this, like right now the hardcore rally game is, what is it called, WRX or whatever? WRC?
WRC, yeah.
And it's abysmal. So this might be the best rally racing game on the market right now, unless you count something like Forza Horizon, which I would, I guess. This is definitely no Forza Horizon. There's no doubt about that. There's no leveling in this game, so you don't like level up your cars. Like I said, you get parts instead. There's no performance tuning, so you're not really like tweaking like the camber on your suspension or the brakes or anything like that.
Just the car is the car.
Yeah, the car's a car. I'm not sure actually if the parts that they give you, if they actually affect the performance of the car. Because it's usually like, here's the front bumper, here's the back bumper, like a spoiler or something like that. I haven't been able to tell if adding that stuff actually makes the cars perform better. Because again, you're only racing for 2 races before they give you another new car. So you don't really get to learn the nuances to figure out whether or not those parts that they give you are helping the cars.
This is a choice for a rally race. This fucking truck, like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an off-road truck, but it's not really a rally.
Well, that's the Bronco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the facsimile of the Bronco. They don't actually have the licensed cars in this. They just kind of...
I would not take a Bronco on a rally ride. I would take it to cut through some jungle. I don't think I'd take it to do this.
Yep. As far as the modes are
Can
concerned,
you change perspective?
yes, and eventually you'll see in the B-roll, there's 3 different views that you can play from. You can go to first-person cockpit view, or you can go to this like top-down view that reminds me of that old arcade game Sprint. Do you remember that? It had the wheels where you'd spin the wheel around the turns.
Super Sprint.
Yeah.
And there was an off-road one of those.
Yeah.
There was the monster truck.
No, there was. That was fun too.
Yeah.
And so this has a top-down view that kind of functions that way as well. This is also not a rally racing car, obviously.
No, that is a different approach to the sport right there. Yeah.
As far as other modes are concerned, besides the championship mode, which is what you've been seeing all the B-roll of, there's also time trials, which is really all rally racing is in the first place. It's all about time trials. But there's no multiplayer, so there's no head-to-head multiplayer in this. I'm not sure if the time trials in this upload to an online leaderboard where you can race other people. It didn't seem like it to me. It seemed like it was just locally saving your time, so you could beat your own time. And then there's a free roam mode where you can just go into any of the 4 biomes and just drive around. And there's random stuff that you can find out in the open world. The game's really not designed for that, though. It's like they're just like, okay, we're just not going to put boundaries on the tracks and let you drive like across the tracks if you want to. And they just hid like little things that you can find to like collect out in the open world. Not very compelling, to be perfectly honest with you. One of the things that is compelling about this game, though, is your co-driver, the guy who rides along with you. They're very mouthy. And you can see that for whatever reason, they decide to subtitle them in the game, which is a little awkward. But they are very mouthy and funny. Like, the writing's really good, and the voiceover is appropriate to each biome. So the guy who talks in this one, your co-driver, is like a redneck that has like a twang or whatever. Because this is the America race, which is kind of funny when I think about it. And then each of the other biomes have like their own co-drivers that are unique to those areas. They're funny, but they just need a lot more lines. They repeat a lot. They also lag way behind. Like, they'll say, oh, here comes a turn to the number 1 to the left. And like, you just left the turn. So they're like way behind as far as like giving you advice on what's coming up in the track. So that could definitely be improved. I mentioned the LOD issues. The music in this is some of the worst music I've ever heard in my life. I went through 2 races before I turned it off and never turned it back on again. And again, kind of back to the point that I made when I first started talking about it, it just doesn't feel like it's anywhere near finished. Again, it is 1.0. The developers have given it their blessing to put it on Steam and sell it, but there's just a lot of small things that need to be polished up and fixed before I feel like they should have sent it into 1.0 territory. But that's their decision to make, and that's what they did. I will just say, though, the game has a charm to it that you will never get watching B-roll or listening to me talk about it. Like, it's just the visuals in conjunction with the sound effects, in conjunction with the co-driver. There's just a charm about the game. In between races, you saw the characters. That's a very unique art style to them. I wish there was more of that, more interaction with sort of the characters.
And I wish the art style appeared sooner.
Right.
Before it was 20 feet from you.
Yeah. So, again, like,
I really don't understand why this has pop-in problems.
I don't either.
In 2025.
Me either.
That doesn't look like you should be struggling to render.
Nope. It really doesn't. So, yeah, again, like, I think they're being a little bit generous with themselves, giving this the 1.0 moniker. There's definitely a lot more work to be done on it, but they may just be at a point where they're like, look, we need to make some money. And if we can get some people to give us some money for this out of the gate, that'll fill the coffers while we finish the game off. But, again, it's called Drive Rally. It's for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. It's basically coming to everything. Both PlayStations, both Xboxes, and PC. Right now, though, it's only available for PC. So the console versions are coming later. I hope they keep working on it because I feel like they have something here, but I think maybe they're just jumping the gun a little bit trying to get it out to the public before they should. But then you see other little things on it, like you see the reflections on the car body and stuff, but like everything's drawing in 50 feet away. It's really bizarre, honestly, how this has worked out. I can jump forward through the B-roll here and show you some more of the stuff. Like, I'll show you, there's the top-down view. There's unlocking a new vehicle. That's actually the Bronco.
That's the Bronco. The other one was more of a...
Here's the first-person view.
Chat said Canyonero, which is funny.
Okay.
Canyonero.
Yeah. And this is first-person view. It's pretty much worthless. I could not get good times.
You're definitely giving up a lot of screen space to the cockpit there.
Yeah.
My first-person view I usually use in racing games is on the hood.
Yeah. You don't see the cockpit
because
at all.
that's where my mind is when I drive a car.
Right. And here's a top-down view. I managed to put up decent times in top-down, but in cockpit, terrible.
It's an interesting idea, especially for a rally game where you have to kind of control your drifts and see how you're doing. That's an interesting angle to use for that.
Not being able to see too far ahead caused problems.
Yeah, it feels like it feels like you'd use this when you know a track and you're trying to perfect it.
Right. Yeah.
And you're really trying to like look at what your angles are turning out to be.
I got decent times with that view, but with the in-cockpit view, definitely not. So the game does kind of drag on. Like I said, you have to go through like 12 tracks in each biome before you move on to the next biome, and it takes a while. But it's just not finished, unfortunately. Cool idea, cool look. Definitely a charming game that I enjoyed not as much as I thought I would, having watched trailers and stuff like that. I've had my eye on this game for a while, actually. So I've been kind of keeping track on when it was going to come out and when we're going to be able to play it. And so that's why I jumped on it, definitely during a slow week as well. But ultimately, it's just not quite there yet. So I recommend staying away from Drive Rally for now. Will I come back to this later? Maybe. Come back and check in on it. They did give me the final version of the game, so I can keep going back as they update it and download the new version and give it a go. But, this year's just going to get busier and busier as we go here, so the chances of that are pretty slim. But look, you put out the game as a 1.0 version, it's fair game for criticism, and so that's what we're doing here on GameFace. So, disappointed in this game. I had kind of high hopes for it. I had my fingers crossed for the last several months it was going to turn out to be something special, but it is kind of, but it's just not good enough. It's just not polished enough.
That is some Sega Saturn ass pop in.
Yeah.
I gotta say, that it's weird that we started with that, with the Sega Rally stuff, because it's reminding me of Sega Rally in some inconsistent ways.
Yeah.
Look at that fence shadow just sort of crawl in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, not that really affects a lot of gameplay, but the obstacles are there, but the details are popping in a horrendously close.
It's also very easy if you haven't figured it out yet by watching this B-roll. I finish first every time by 10 or 15 seconds. There's just not a lot of challenge to it. So that's the other thing. I just kind of walked through the game. It just became boring after a while because I knew I was going to finish first. When they first give you some of the bigger, clunkier cars, you may not get that first race that you use those cars, but by the second race you will. And by the third time you use it, you'll win by 10 seconds. So they could probably make it a little bit more challenging as well. But yeah, that's Drive Rally. Unfortunately, a big disappointment for me, your boy Shane, who was hoping for it to be something special. Rally racing games are just kind of a dying breed as well. They're another thing that people just aren't really making a lot anymore. So thought I'd give it a try.
If somebody out there is making a cyberpunk rally game, you might want to pivot.
Seriously, you're doomed. You're doomed. Okay, and with that, it's now time for That's right. It's time for the lightning round news roundup, where I have a handful of stories. I just realized today, as I was taking a shower, getting ready to come over here, that I've just replaced the Big Six with something else that now comes later in the show instead of at the beginning of the show.
True.
GameFace has now, 10 years later, has come full circle. I totally forgot about the Big Six.
Yeah.
How we used to do that at the beginning of the show. We'd find 6 of the smaller news stories and talk about them. I may even have the Big Six graphics and stuff on the TriCaster still. Maybe I'll bust them out for next week just for fun. But anyway, the lightning round is where I find 5 or 6 smaller stories.
Aren't we creeping around on the 10-year thing here?
Yeah, June 5th will be 10 years.
Well, we started the show in April.
Oh, our show's already been more than 10 years. But SIFTD's anniversary will be June 5th. The 10-year anniversary of SIFTD will be June 5th, 2025. So that's coming up. And we'll talk about that as we get a little bit closer. But anyway, so lightning round is where we just go through some of the smaller stories of the week. Usually it's mostly Matt riffing on them, but I jump in here and there. I have to do all the TriCaster stuff for the production, so I can't jump in as much as I'd like to. But Matt is awesome at this, and we'll keep doing it that way. So, are you ready for the lightning round, Matt?
Sure.
Okay, the first story in the lightning round. Switch 2 pre-orders are beginning April 24th in 2 days. The price has
In the U.S.
In the U.S. The price has remained $450 in the U.S. Are you surprised?
A little bit, but apparently it looks like the way they're getting around it is they're jacking the price on the accessories, which is $100 controllers.
$95 for a pair of the new Joy-Con.
And was it $89 for the Pro controller?
Yep.
By after tax, that's going to be $100.
Yep, going to be $100. The camera was $60, now it's $65.
I don't know whine about that game being $80. Jesus Christ.
Right. I mean, again, this is all tariff driven. I mean, I'll say this, they are taxing kind of the core here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thrilled about how much that Pro Controller is going to cost, but also, like...
You don't need it, though.
I need it.
You don't. So the old Pro Controller works.
Yeah, but it has new stuff in it.
Just the C button, that's it.
But the C button is why we're here.
You really don't need to get one. Mm-hmm. Don't. You shouldn't. Keep your old Pro Controller. But, if you want an extra Joy-Con, that's going to set you back big time.
Or if you want an extra dock.
Yeah.
$120 for
right.
the dock.
Yeah. So basically what Nintendo has decided to do is save the casuals by keeping the console at the price it originally announced. And then for people like us who actually go and buy all the extra stuff, we're the ones who are getting gouged, which is weird for Nintendo.
I generally don't buy a lot of extra stuff.
I don't either.
I buy a controller usually.
Yep. And I only have to do that with the Pro Controller being working on Switch 2. So I'm glad the hardware is still $450. Nintendo also said that it reserves the right to jack up the price later on. So here's what's happening.
Try to grab yourself that Mario Kart bundle if you want it.
Right.
But
what's happened?
We don't know what's going to happen next.
Nintendo has already shipped like 3 million Switch 2s to America. Yeah, that's what's happened here.
Some of it. And a lot of it's been rerouted through Vietnam.
And so it has those units that it paid its original price to get here. So they're okay selling this for $450.
And the remaining stuff coming from Vietnam is still going to be hit by the 10% that everyone got hit with, even Australia, which had no tariffs against it. But that can be absorbed by the jacking the price of the accessories, more or less, because again, the system is so expensive already. You can't really. Back when we were talking about what the price might be, months and years ago, I always said $450. But I always felt like that was about as far as you could go. Theoretically, Nintendo might have taken a shot at $499, but I felt like $450 was really the ceiling.
That's even
for
pushing
your average.
it. Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely pushing it. Yeah. But I felt like given what they were doing and what it was going to cost, the manufacturing and tariffs unrelated.
Yeah, at the time,
I was just thinking like what you're going to have to make this thing be is going to be about $450.
Yeah,
under Nintendo pricing. Like if you wanted to sell it as at a loss, you probably do $350.
Yep.
But Nintendo don't do that.
Yep. So pre-orders start April 24th. That's in 2 days. There's an article up on SIFTD right now that goes through all the retailers and when exactly their pre-orders are going up.
Not Amazon.
Not Amazon.
Amazon's not getting any, it seems like.
Which is weird.
Very weird.
Nintendo has had a weird relationship with Amazon in the past.
Yeah. I think your best shot here is Best Buy.
It sounds like it.
If you're not going through the Nintendo online store.
Here's what bothers me about that, though, is that those pre-orders don't go out until May 8th. So you won't... I'm hoping Nintendo in the next day tells you if you made it through the lottery and you're going to be able to order one from Nintendo. Because if not...
Though I actually did go and look at that, and because I'm like, I might as well put it in just for that. And the wording on that stuff made me think that they're kind of doing a first come first serve thing.
Really?
So it's some of it. I mean, eligibility is obviously different, quite where they're evaluating whatever. Because I thought maybe I have a shot because I have bought a lot. I haven't played a lot, but I bought a lot because of this show. And but the wording on the fine print really made it seem like because I signed up so late, I probably wouldn't get notified on the 8th.
Really?
Because they talk about how basically they will continue telling people you can buy the thing until it's basically burned through everybody who wanted one. And so to me, it sounds like they're going to roll them out to people who signed up more or less once they filter you through whatever are you a hardcore enough, are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president kind of thing. They're gonna kind of roll out in order. It sounded like. So I mean, I
haven't heard anything yet.
I mean, no, obviously not. But if you sign up now, I would imagine you would not hear on the 8th.
Yeah, you'll probably not hear it for a month or two after launch, would be my guess. But it's still cool that you're in that queue. If you don't get one, you may eventually get one from Nintendo.
Yeah,
at least.
I expect to kind of hear about it in June.
Right.
It's like somewhere in mid-June, I'm getting an email from Nintendo. It's like, oh, we heard you want to buy a Switch 2. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Anybody need a Switch 2?
Next up in the lightning round, this week, rumors are swirling that there's a new PlayStation handheld coming down the pike.
What's wrong, Sony? You got too much money?
It feels like it.
You need a tax write-off?
I mean, it does feel like PlayStation's feeling itself again. I mean, this is what happened after coming off of the PlayStation 2 when it ruled the world. It was handheld happy. And then it learned some valuable lessons, and now it feels like it's forgotten all those valuable lessons that it's learned. What do you think? You think this is a good idea?
No, it was never a good idea.
Because here's the thing. I feel like PlayStation has forgotten why it didn't have a handheld that would work, because it couldn't support 2 platforms at once. It can't support one with software.
What are you going to put on it?
Right. I mean, the only way it will
You
work...
can't even put, like, PS5 games, bad versions of PS5 games, because you don't have anything.
And that's the only way it would work, is if you can run PlayStation 5 games on it. Otherwise, forget about it. It'll be dead on arrival. I don't know what PlayStation is thinking here. It's probably watching Nintendo. It's like, okay, we beat Xbox. Who's left to beat at this point? It's
my
Nintendo.
guess is they're thinking, like, oh, there's space. Because there is no Nintendo handheld, quote-unquote.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's a gap in the market. We can get in there now.
Until there's a Switch 2 Lite.
Some idiot in the suit is thinking that right now, and that's what's driving this, if it's real.
Yeah. So, again, this was a rumor. But it was from a reliable source that PlayStation's working on their handheld. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it would just be a waste of R&D money.
How many times do we need to teach you this lesson, old man?
It really feels that way. Like, learn it. Like, this is twice. You should have learned this lesson twice now. I don't get it. Next up, in the lightning round, Paul Rudd reappears to reenact the Super Nintendo commercial from like 20-some years ago that he starred in.
35.
Oh, it's 35 years ago that he starred in, and now he's back to do it for the Switch too. This is pretty...
Looking almost the same.
He does kind of look the same.
That's a very well-preserved 55-year-old man.
Seriously, man. Yeah, I mean, he also had kind of looked like that when he was younger, when he did the SNES commercial.
He's looked the same for about 30 years.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
He's just sort of eternally 37 in the face.
But
same thing if you go look at the him in the first Ninja Turtles movie. He's the kid who shows everybody around the Shredder's like Pleasure Island place and offers like filter menthol or none or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's Sam Rockwell. Never mind. That's the other young guy who never ages.
Oh.
I'm thinking about Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely for us. Like, only we are going to get this.
There's also a part of me that like. This also is part of me wonders, like, I've always believed that they considered calling this the Super Nintendo Switch.
No, they did. Didn't you see the news about it?
No.
It was a second choice.
Okay. Well,
they almost called... You didn't see that?
I did not.
Oh, I thought... I told you. Yeah, you were right. It was their second choice. They said it. The day that they announced Switch 2, they're like, we almost called it Super Nintendo Switch. And they should have. They had some lame brain reason why they didn't do it. They said.
But that to me was why you shoot this is because it's the Super Nintendo to the Super Nintendo Switch.
Right.
And you just like that's your mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can make it work without that.
Yeah, like, Nintendo actually shared that information. Right. Like the hardware team said that the second choice was Super Nintendo Switch.
Well, that's someone in there's thinking, even if they didn't win the fight.
Ultimately, the reason they didn't do it was like it was incongruent with the first Switch or something. Like they thought people would be confused or some crap.
It probably is simpler to just call it 2 and everybody understands what that means.
Yeah.
Oh, super what? What's super?
The excuse they gave didn't hold a lot of water with me, but whatever.
No, but I mean, they're I don't know, Tom. We're working with assholes here. You know, as Paul Rudd would say if he called Tom Cruise on the phone to complain about his current life.
I love how the whole WeChat or game chat looks just as awful in this as it does everywhere else. They couldn't even gussy it up for this.
Yeah, even these guys don't look good in that. So
well, also the game's running at like 10 frames a second in the window. It's like, I don't understand why Nintendo. I mean, one thing I will say...
How'd the kid get in there with all these movie stars?
One thing that is cool is the one camera, I don't know if you heard about this, the one camera can pick up 4 faces and split their 4 faces into the separate windows, which is kind of cool. But otherwise, it's not at all. But I thought this was a cool idea for Nintendo to do this. I think it was a bone for us, the hardcore Nintendo fans who will remember it. Like, my nieces and nephews don't know what this is. They're just like, oh, it's just some dude showing off the Switch 2 or whatever.
Well, most of the reaction I've seen to this is like people that do remember that commercial vaguely, but they're like, that was Paul Rudd?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't famous
he was
at all.
Nobody then. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Our next story.
What they should have done is gotten a bunch of people from Kids Incorporated to be in
That's right. I forgot about that show. Kids Incorporated.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of people came out of that.
That's true. Yep. Our next story is Doom got a new trailer this week, and it seems like nobody cared. So it's only the second trailer for Doom: The Dark Ages, and literally nobody cared.
Because we're already going to play it.
I mean, seriously. Like, we put it up on SIFTD. Nobody watched it. Nobody commented on it. It just died. It's only the second trailer for the game, which is crazy.
It's like a Zelda thing. So everyone's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
We're in. We're good. We'll see you in a month.
I mean, maybe the crazier part is that this game comes out in like 2 weeks, and we've only had 2 trailers for it.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah. May 16th, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 3 weeks. But
yeah. but still, 2
coming
trailers
up.
for this game so far, which is, for a modern video game with this kind of a budget, is unheard of.
Yeah.
Usually by now you have like 10.
Well, didn't they do a little direct thing, a little thing in that
They did.
Microsoft presentation?
Yep. They did like their own
I mean,
separate...
how much do you really need to show somebody in Doom?
That's a good point, actually. It's just surprising to me. Like, when I'm curating, I add stuff to the network, and I'm like, this is going to go big. People are going to be all over this. And when it doesn't happen...
Erebus Jones, Doom, it's coming to Game Pass. I'm going to play it. I don't need to see anything more.
Yeah.
100%.
I was still surprised. Also, you got to remember, this is a day one on PS5.
Yeah.
So, our site is 80% PlayStation 5 owners.
Everyone's convinced.
Yeah.
We all know.
Yeah.
We all know what we're doing.
I mean, I guess that's really what it comes down to. People are just like, I'm good. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play it. I don't need to see any more of it. So
As that Archer meme goes, my penis can only get so erect. So,
it is funny, though. Certain games can get away with that.
yeah.
Others can't.
Doom can do it. Zelda can do it.
But not a lot.
Not too many.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's not like you need to know more about Doom.
Yeah.
But, like, Doom is Doom. Doom is right there.
Well, this one is a pretty big departure, even from the last couple ones. As you mentioned earlier about the stand your ground stuff, it's not just like a crazy circle strafe shooter like they have been, but...
I mean, it is very different from Eternal, but I don't think many people are going to mind that so much. I mean, I know that game has its hardcore fans, but it was not how I prefer my Doom to be.
Okay.
I guess maybe you want people to know that you can drive a kaiju.
Right.
But
and fight kaiju, other
But
kaiju.
you know what? That's really just gravy, isn't it?
I think that was in the first trailer briefly, too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
They kind of showed everything in the first trailer, I guess.
Yeah. There's giant monsters and shields and the chain weapon and dragons, and you ride a dragon and you drive a giant mech, and why am I not playing this already?
Yeah. I hear you. Okay. Next up in the lightning round, Matt, this week, the Speaker of the House, Republican Mike Johnson, shared his knowledge from on high, where he shared with the world that the reason that young people are staying at home playing video games all day and won't go out and get a job is because they're on Medicaid. Mm-hmm. Matt, they have free health care. So
in this country,
why would they ever leave the house if they have free health care, Matt?
I don't know. Well, let's ask the people from the UK where they have free health care.
Do you ever leave
Why
the
they
house?
never leave the house?
Erebus Jones, you never leave the house, right? Because you have free health care. What about our Canadian friends here in chat? They have free health care. I guess they never leave the house either. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to work either, right? Because if you have free health
I
care...
think Mike Johnson's the one who never leaves the house. Like a little building at the House of Representatives, he never leaves it because I don't know what he's talking about. It. The thing you have to remember here is these are the dumbest fucking people.
They really are. They are really...
who have ever served
It really
in
is.
office.
I mean, I think it's on purpose. I think they were placed there because they're stupid, so they wouldn't provide resistance to all the fascism that's happening. Seriously. They're just a get-along gang. They're like, oh, he knew these people, as long as they're getting rich, they don't care about morality or what America stands for. Like, they don't care about any of that.
That is what America stands for. I'm sorry to tell
Sadly,
you.
it appears that way. It really is starting
sorry
to
I had
appear
to
that
find
way.
out this way.
Yeah, it really is starting to appear that way. But anyway, look, if you just can get on Medicaid, you won't ever have to work again.
What? How do I do that?
Just
Because I missed
aim
that
to
part.
get on Medicaid. You'll never have to work again.
Where are these healthy young men on Medicaid that don't have to work?
Yeah.
And where are they getting the money to buy video games?
Because, Matt, the only reason you would ever need a job or need money is to buy health care.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, it is a main
In
reason
America.
people have jobs is so they don't live one medical crisis away from financial
life
ruin. But
being
guess
ruined.
what? When you can't go to work anymore because you're getting chemotherapy, you lose the job and you lose your insurance and your entire finances go away. I mean, you can't even imagine what people live through here if you live in a civilized nation.
Oh, I mean, if you get cancer, it's over.
Yeah,
You're filing for bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. That's the end of it. It doesn't even matter if you have insurance. You're filing for bankruptcy.
And that doesn't happen anywhere else.
No.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anywhere.
Because you can get on
If Breaking
Medicaid.
Bad took place in any other country, he would just go get treatment, and that would be the end of the show. It would be an episode long. That's why you can't do that show anywhere else.
That's hilarious. Look, the crazy part is that there are people that watch these people talk and are like, yeah,
they
get
are.
on Medicaid, they'll never work again.
All those Medicaid kings playing Halo all day. What are you talking
What
about?
is going on?
It should be.
Look, here's the thing, Matt.
Even throughout any kind of whatever is happening, no matter any time, whoever's in charge, whatever's happening, the instant a congressperson says anything about a video game, you know what's being said is bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, every time they're wrong about whatever it is, if a video game comes up, I promise you, as soon as Resident Evil Creek is mentioned, you are in crazy town.
I mean, the crazy part about this is that he would not say this if he did not know that there were people gullible and dumb enough to believe it.
Oh, yeah. You know what would really be successful? You know what you should do? You should make, like, a pay-to-win, like, mobile free-to-play game, but it's, like, put out by the government, and the more you play it, the more you earn towards Medicaid. Like you have to play the game and spend microtransactions that go straight into the government coffers to earn, like, Medicaid bucks that you then can trade for medical treatment.
Oh, man.
How's that for a Black Mirror episode, assholes?
Really? That's a good one.
Go make that.
Actually, you're right.
Actually, I think they already bid that.
They may have done that one already.
That one in the first season where the guy has to earn like 25 million points to buy that.
Oh, right.
It's
kind of the same thing.
That kind of is that, isn't it? Like, everything's already been done.
It's freaking insane.
Reality just catches up to the dystopia. That's all.
There's lightning striking Mike Johnson. There's lightning striking Mike Johnson. You can't hear it, but I'm playing the lightning strike effect. Okay, our final lightning round topic for episode 430. This is insane, Matt. All these stories have been kind of insane, but the Legend of Zelda games on Switch 2 won't cloud save. What?
As in, like, you won't be able to bring your save in from the Switch 1?
No, and you can't save it to the cloud either. You can only save it locally.
Why not?
Nobody knows. Nintendo has not explained why this is. Nobody knows.
Oh, Andy T. Monahan, microtaxations. That's brilliant. That's great. Trademark that. Trademark that right now. Don't just say that in chat. You get trademark that.
JMRay99 says, but then when you're on Medicaid, 90% of doctors won't serve you. He says, my son is on it because he is in the foster care system. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's overloaded. Because everybody's poor in America, so there's tons of people on Medicaid.
Well, that's why they're all playing video games all day, because they're waiting.
Oh, man. They're waiting. Anyway.
Now we see the violence inherent in the system. Help, I'm being repressed. I can't save on the cloud.
Yep. And
for
then
no reason.
Ashes in Your Glass is like, yeah, weird thing is that the other games do carry saves. So the other games that are upgraded to Switch 2, the saves do work.
Yeah, I don't understand
that. It's freaking insane.
I guess now we know why they give you the additional save file.
Yeah. I mean, some people are intimating that might be the reason that they're afraid that people are going to do like weird save stuff and upload like the second save or something, but I don't know. Nobody really has figured it out. Nobody really knows.
Honestly, if people are that stupid, let them. Who cares?
Seriously. What's it going to hurt? You know, Nintendo, they're very afraid.
You already got their money. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what does it matter? Let them play someone else's save if they want
to.
Let
the kids play a game.
And just like that, that's the end of the lightning round for GameFace 430. Oh, man.
So the save will transfer from the Switch 1. You just don't get cloud saves.
Yeah.
For those two games.
Yeah.
On the Switch
2. It's so bizarre. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
How bizarre.
Somebody I saw somewhere mentioned that, like, the one thing about Switch 2 is that there's just tons of caveats. There's just these little, like, non sequiturs. Like, it's backwards compatible. Except for these 130 games. Yeah, like, there's just asterisks everywhere.
They should have called it the Switch Butt.
Seriously, though. I mean, that's their point, is that... That's funny. But that's their point, is that, like, every feature, there's an asterisk. And you have to go and look at, like, what's excluded and what won't work. And it feels that, like, every part of Switch 2 has an asterisk. Mm-hmm. And so people are saying that's starting to pile up, and maybe that may have an effect.
It will not.
It will not. They're going to sell out however many units they have on day one, guaranteed. All right, well, there you go. That's the lightning round for GameFace 430. And of course, as you know, we have just one more thing to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by Soundwizardry.com, the absolute masters in-game audio, and any kind of audio. If you have any audio projects that you need worked on, if you're working on a game, if you're working on a podcast, if you're working on a piece of video, anything audio related, Soundwizardry.com can make it better and make it the best. They have worked on multiple Game of the Year winners, multiple Game of the Year contenders. They work on the very best games. They will make your project sing, I promise you. Go to Soundwizardry.com. The best thing about them is that they are awesome people. You will love working with them. They are great folks. They are talented. They are skilled. They are easygoing. That's a winning formula for me. Go to Soundwizardry.com. Ask for Glenn. You won't regret it. I promise you. And the coolest thing of all is that Soundwizardry sponsors Name That Game Tune, where we play you 5 samples from a video game, and you try to guess the name of the game before this dude right here. Matt is on a tear. You've won 4 of 5?
3.
3 of 4.
Yeah, and then nobody got one of them.
Right. Yeah, nobody got. Yeah, so we've been on, like, we're trying to give games away here, people. So you guys got to show up and put on your A game to beat this guy.
What do I need to do to put you in a new game today?
Like a car salesman. A couple things before we get going. If you have won this calendar year in 2025, do not play. You can only win once per calendar year. Number 2, we put the chat into slow mode, so you can only put a chat once every 60 seconds. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time inputting stuff. Don't spam the chat with game titles hoping you guess it right. You won't. And then the final thing is that we give away free PC games to the winner. So if you don't play PC games and you don't have a friend that you can give the code to, please don't play. Let somebody win who will actually enjoy the game and play the game, or at the very least, give the code to somebody that they care about and they can play it. So those are the 3 big things that you got to know before we play, and we're ready to go. Matt, are you ready?
Sure.
Let me turn up your audio here so you can hear. I think I have a good idea where that needs to be at this point. Are you ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here we go with the first clue in 3, 2, 1. I'll play that one twice because it's short. All right, let's see what guesses you got from that first one. Dead Space, no. Star Wars Outlaws, no. Turok, no. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, no. Guardians of the Galaxy, no. Titanfall 2, no. Metroid Prime, no. Mass Effect 2, no. Mass Effect 2, no. 2 Mass Effects. Perfect Dark, no. Nier Automata, no. Stellar Blade, no. Returnal, no. Oh, that would be sneaky of me after what Matt mentioned earlier. Oh, we have a winner. Treylock's got it in the first one. It is Metroid Dread. Dang. That's it. It's all over, people. He got it. Dang. Dreylocks. That's pretty impressive, man. I'll play that one again just so everybody else can hear what he got it from. That's impressive, Dreylocks. Dang, man. I'm glad somebody won. Finally.
Was that an Emmy making the clanky noise?
No, that's just one of shooting the door opening, and the door closing. Here, I'll play the rest of them. Here's the second. Here's the third. Here's the fourth. And then here's the last one. Sound of the being stalked, the robot. Congratulations once again, Dreylocks. You're here every Tuesday, man. I love seeing people like you win. This is what we want. Our most dedicated fans to win Name That Game Tune.
There's a little bit in the second one where you can hear like the way the music in the background fades, that you can recognize it as Metroid-y. Although it's funny,
I was afraid that second one might give that away.
Them when the music kind of is slightly in like that one and the fourth one. It's weird how much like the music in that game kind of sounds like a carnival. Like, it's like it's sort of subdued and a little off.
I mean, if you really know me and how I do things, there's other hints there because there was music mixed in with the sound effects. So if you've watched a lot of GameFace, that should tell you what?
That you can't turn the sound off, which means it's a Nintendo game, or the music off, which means it's a Nintendo game.
Yep. There's other ways to be good at this if you really watch a lot of GameFace and you get to know Matt and I. There's subtle hints and clues in there that'll help you win the game. But congratulations, Dreylox. Hit me up here on Twitch. You can send me a DM on Twitter. I'm at Dinfire. You can send me a DM on SIFTD. I'm Shane. You know how to get at us. Hit me up, and we'll get your code out to you. Congratulations. That's flipping awesome. You got it on that first one. I still don't know how you did it. That's really impressive. Let me look at the clock here. Are you trying to get my attention?
No, it was a moth.
Oh, okay. Sometimes you try to get my attention that way. We got a little bit of time. Let's do some Q&A here. As always, go at SIFTD Games, and that'll bring up the black bar and it'll help us pick out the questions from the rest of chat. Let me bring chat up here. All right. We got a couple minutes here. Let's see what you got. Vincent says, if you're looking for a good Saturn-style rally game, check out Parking Garage Rally Circuit on Steam. It's $10 and has a ton of good reviews. Is it better than Drive Rally? I'm sure that's what people were asking. Ultimate Villain, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Justin, Ontario, is anyone buying the new Doom Xbox controller? Did you see those things?
No.
It's the ugliest controller I've ever seen. It literally looks like they shoved the controller up a cow's ass and then pulled it out and like, here you go. Like, it's just, obviously it's Doom, so it's got like blood and stuff all over it. And like, one's red and looks like you pulled it out of a cow's ass. And the other one's like green and like murky looking. They're just like these ugly ass controllers. I mean, I'm assuming Justin is making fun of them by asking that. Because I was like, wow, those are like the worst controllers I've ever seen in my life. Let's see. Any other questions? As that Saber, if Mario Kart World is a $50 game as an in-bundle item, would that infer the game will never go below $50?
It would imply it because the speaker implies and the listener infers, but we could infer that it would never go below $50.
Because they just won't.
Because they're jerks.
Yeah, they just don't lower the prices.
I feel like even if it wasn't bundled in for that, you could probably infer that. It's Nintendo's big step. I mean, how much does Mario Kart cost right now for the Mario Kart Ultimate?
I think it's still $60.
Yeah. They don't drop the price on their popular things.
They'll do like a sale at the holidays or something.
Yeah, even like for like the big Mario, March 10th day, like it's like, oh, all this stuff is, Mario Odyssey was like $45 or something, and that game's 7 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't happen.
I think that's what has added extra sting to the $80 price of games.
Yeah, you know that's never
you
coming
know
down,
it's probably not coming down.
Like, you're going to be lucky to get it for $60 one day.
Yeah. I mean, really,
if you don't get that bundle.
If you want Mario Kart, just get the bundle.
Yeah, if you expect to ever buy Mario Kart, just get the bundle if you can.
Yep, I agree. Retro Modern Gamer said, do you think the Fallout 3 remaster is now true since it was on the Xbox leak and the Oblivion remaster was on it and that came out to be true? That seems very simple, but I don't think it is that simple.
Maybe. I mean, it makes sense.
But there's other stuff that was in there that hasn't come true. And
yet.
I mean, you're right.
I mean, look, if you're remastering Oblivion, there's no reason not to do Fallout. Because it's the same. You're in the same boat. It's going to be years before another Fallout comes out.
I'm just wondering who Bethesda would have found to tackle that, since Virtuos...
Probably it's Virtuos.
So you're saying that, like, we won't see the Fallout 3 remaster for another couple years or something?
Well, they're big enough to work on more than one thing.
Oh, they are? I didn't realize that, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can multitask.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I imagine it will be a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Because, But my guess is that that's going to fill the space between now and Elder Scrolls 6.
Mm-hmm. Erebus says, but you can't get the bundle if it sells out instantly.
Yeah.
Look, we don't know for a fact, but I think...
They will continue to make that bundle into next year. So
no, they said that they won't.
They said they won't?
No, so they're saying...
I thought they were going to ship it until March next year or something.
So stuff coming out of Nintendo is basically Nintendo saying, don't count on being able to buy that bundle with the holidays. I think they're probably going to have enough to satisfy demand until the holidays, and then I think they'll just stop producing them before the holidays so that people have to pay full price for stuff.
Unless there's another bundle they have
right.
planned.
And who knows with what'll happen with tariffs and all that other crap, but...
Till the Pokemon Z to A bundle.
Right. That'll happen. That may happen too. It could happen. That may be what replaces the Mario Kart bundle. Right.
Because I bet Pokemon will be $80.
It probably will be.
But maybe it'll be $50 if you
get the bundle. Right.
That could be a big incentive, really.
I think as long as you get your Switch 2 in the launch window, I think you'll be able to buy the bundle. That's what I'm saying. And again, I am in contact.
I don't know. The pricing is such a hot button item, and the pricing of Mario Kart specifically, like the only way to get it for $50, which is probably what most people think they should be paying for it in the first place. Whether you agree with that or not is a different matter. I think this thing's going to be very hard to get.
The bundle, you
The
mean?
bundle.
Yeah.
Because it's the one. Why wouldn't you get it? Another $50 and you save $30.
Yeah.
Like that. The math on that is it's the only reasonable thing, unless you just absolutely don't want Mario Kart. And even I'm not enough of a Mario Kart curmudgeon to not take that.
Yeah. One thing I will say is that, how should I phrase this? Offline, both Pactor and I are in contact with Nintendo and their, I'm going to say the name of it, but their PR agency. And we, excuse me, have heard things talking to those people that we're not allowed to report, but it can shade things that I say. So just kind of listen to some of the stuff that I'm saying and know that at least some of it is coming from a place where it matters. That's all I'm going to say. So I think you'll be able to get the Mario Kart bundle through the launch window, and I'll leave it at that. Do you think they'll stop with the MK? This is from Ashes. Do you think they'll stop with the MK World Bundle and replace it with the bundle? Yeah, we just kind of did that. It could be 3D Mario. He brings up a good point.
Maybe. I am increasingly skeptical that is going to happen.
Me too. Yeah, because Bowser did mention that this week.
Yeah.
He's like, stay tuned or whatever. Everybody knows there's another one coming. But,
like one day.
right.
Sure. Like,
yeah. It was like another no news story that everybody reported on. It's like, of course there's another 3D Mario coming.
I just enjoy. I don't know if you saw the Last Week Tonight from a week or two ago.
Which one?
I can't remember which one it was. It was either the trans athletes one or it was the tariffs one. But in the middle of it, they bring up the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, they do.
Pricing thing, and there's a whole section where John Oliver, he's like, I did not know that Doug Bowser was the head of Nintendo America, and he's like, for those of you who don't understand why I'm reacting to this way, let me explain some Mario lore to you. And he spends
That's
like 5
great.
minutes laying out why it's
that,
funny
totally.
that Bowser is the name of the guy who runs Nintendo.
I'm gonna go look for that and curate it to SIFTD. I missed that somehow.
It's his tariffs.
Okay, I'll check it out. That's great. Street Breaker X2. Didn't Nintendo used to do that player's choice on selected games for lower prices? I was actually going to bring this up a minute ago, and the conversation went another direction, that they don't do that anymore.
Not really.
There aren't the player's choice games anymore that they sell you for $30. I think it was $30. Is that right?
I think that was, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Yeah, so unfortunately,
now that
that's
they
not an
can't
option.
sell you a physical copy with a ruined cover with a stupid stripe on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the... That's one thing I don't miss, is having to hunt down the non-greatest hits version of things.
Yep. What else we got here? Retro Modern Gamer. Nintendo did stay tuned for the next Mario game. I wonder if that will be the bundle. Yeah, same thing.
I mean, it could be if they actually have that out this year, but I wonder if they're going to just ride Pokemon into the sunset and call it a day.
Ashes says, why would we trust Bowser? He's Mario's enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Retro Modern Gamer asks, Matt, did you ever check out the music video and short movie I suggested last week?
I did not.
Okay. Squishy Muffin, we want to know Matt's final thoughts on AC Shadows if you have more to add after musing on it.
I mean, I'm not done with it, so I guess they're not really final thoughts, but I think it's good. I like it more now that I have Yasuke unlocked and I can jump back and forth, and I do play Naue more. Because she can climb shit.
She's way more versatile.
If you find a new place, you can climb to the top of things and get the collectible stuff, and he can't usually.
Yeah, or it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, well, he can't get up those pagoda.
Yeah, because he can't use the grapple hook. Yeah,
he can't climb that.
You have to go in and go up through the whole thing.
I will if I find a new castle, I will generally switch to him and just be like, all right,
clean them
here
out.
we go.
Cleaning crew.
Yeah, he cleans out the people and she cleans out the loot.
Yeah,
that's sort of the end of it.
Yeah, they're a good team.
That's good. I like the relationship between them. As you develop it, in the camp scenes and stuff, and
have you romanced yet?
No, I got the option to romance that one dude with him, but I thought that guy was kind of a dork, so I was just like, nah, Yasuke's got better taste than that.
Well, I got busy with Naue with one of the recruits.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's gonna be hard for me because I'm like, none of these people are good enough for Naue.
You're probably right.
Now he's just gonna have a courtyard full of cats and dogs and Tanuki, and that's all I've done in the base. Is I kind of paved the middle and I just filled it with animals.
Yeah,
that's basically my whole base. All the buildings that matter are all around the periphery, and the middle is just a big animal sanctuary.
I did the same thing. I have a big farm in the middle with dogs and cats and monkeys and all that. And
monkeys and little peccaries and boars and Tanuki and a lot of fun.
Yep, it is.
I like it. I really like it as a kind of an exploration thing. It is too big. There's too much map. I'm hitting the point where I'm like, okay, we're back in Odyssey realm here.
I keep going back to it and playing it, even though I finished it.
But it is fun to go back and dip into and do that. I kind of swap between that and Avowed and Xenoblade, depending on which room I'm in and my mood. I have played 67 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, by the way.
Wow.
Like
You're not finished still?
Oh no, I'm on chapter 9.
Wow.
I don't even have the flight module for the I'm further than I ever got on the Wii U.
Wow, that's insane.
And it was funny because like I really stopped after I got the mech in the original. And there were moments running up in the run up to the mech where I'm just like, this must be further than I ever got because I don't remember any of this. And I'm like, it has to be further than I got because this is the story mission before I get the mech. So I just don't remember a goddamn thing about this game because it's all such a non-memorable storytelling.
Yeah.
But I'm way further than I was. Removing the grind on all the divisions really opens that game up in a way that makes it a lot of fun to just sort of put a podcast on and run through brainlessly and sort of skip through all the cutscenes as fast as you can read the subtitles. You know,
funny. Okay, that's gonna do it for GameFace episode 430 right here on Sifted Games at sifted.net. Again, before I go, a friendly reminder that we are supported 100% at patreon.com/sifted. For just $4 a month, you can get all our content early. You get this show 4 days early. Pactor Factor a week early, all our other content at least 3 days early. It is a great deal, one of the best deals in gaming Patreons. I promise you that. If you can't help us there and you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can help us out with Twitch Prime. Our fans know all about Twitch Prime, but if you're watching this on YouTube, you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Go down below into the description. There's a step-by-step process there that takes a couple minutes that connects your Twitch account with your Amazon Prime account. Once you've connected those accounts, it literally takes 2 seconds or 2 clicks to give us $2 every month. And you do have to redo it every month. Just go to twitch.tv/siftedgames and click the little drop down there and just click Give Free Prime Sub. You give us a free $2.50. It costs you nothing. And again, once you've connected those accounts, it literally takes 2 seconds to give us $2 every month. We would really appreciate it. And again, man, I really beat this drum last week and it did nothing. But please like the show. Please leave comments on the show. If you can't help us financially and you don't have Amazon Prime, that can help us big time. It just takes a second to hit the like button. I don't understand why it's so hard. But for whatever reason, you guys won't do it. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Good podcast. Great podcast. Shane sucks. I don't care. The comment matters. And it really matters when it first goes up.
Just leave a comment that says, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
that's
that works too. Yeah. Like, whatever. Like, it's totally fine. But anyway... That. There's so many ways you can help us, and none of it...
You can still be a rebel.
Yeah, seriously.
And do what we want.
Stick it to Amazon, as Pactor says. Everybody hates Amazon. We really hate it now. Stick it to them. Make them give us $2, man. Do it. It's so easy.
Oh, my $2.
Yeah, you've already paid for it. It's wound into what you're paying per year for your Amazon Prime. They've boiled that in there. You might as well get the benefit out of what you've already paid for. We'd really, really appreciate it. So anyway... That's it for GameFace 430. We'll be back next week with Expedition 33. We'll probably have Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Tape 2 in the show next week. It should be a good one. We'll see you then.
Oblivion,
that's right. After I play 3 hours of it. Right. But it'll be in the show, we promise. So anyway, everybody have a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.